What's going on, y'all? DBN Live. We at it again. DBN Radio is going down like a plane crash, y'all. We got a special guest on the horn. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my man Regis Prograis in a minute. He's going to talk about his sensational knockout he had over Julius Indongo and Mikey Garcia's win, and he's going to talk about all the fighters that he wants, all he has on his hit list. Let me go ahead and give shots out as we always do. In the comment section, what's going on to y'all, man? We're going to get the show started in a minute, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and give shots out as we always do at this time. Shouts out to my man, God's Boxing Corner. What's going on, man? Black Horseman Promotions. What's going on, man? Kevin Stenhouse. Rep your city. Rep your state. Rep your country. You know we international over here, y'all. So that's what it is, Ohio. Toledo in the building. What's good? What's good? All right. I see you, Justin. Yes, sir. We're going to be talking to my man Regis. He's going to talk about his knockout win he just had this weekend. Yes, sir. Lexington, Kentucky in the building. Houston. All right. We're going to talk about all these other fights. Of course, Mikey Garcia, he got a win over Sergey Lipinets. We're going to talk about Relic defeating Rancis Bartholomew in a rematch. We're going to talk about all of that. Chicago stand up. I see you, my man Ashley repping London, UK in the building. What time is it out there? My man said big up from London, all right. Lexington, Minnesota, Minneapolis. TJ in the building. Mexico, yes sir. I see y'all. Fremont, California, down the street from where I'm from, Long Beach. California to Texas, all right. Yeah, we're about to get started, guys. We're about to go ahead and get started. There will be a small pause. You guys going to hear my intro, and then we're going to go ahead and get it started with my special guest, Regis Prograis, in the building, y'all. Yep. And let me tell you something right now. If you guys are looking for the best fragrance products in the world, you need to go to ashkicking.com. That is ashkicking.com. Keep your home smelling fresh and clean with Ash Kicking fragrance products. Treat your skin and hair with Ash Kicking all-natural health and beauty products. Everything you need to create a comfortable home living environment and create a comfortable space for entertaining. The best incense burners in the world, home fragrance products, and health and beauty products. Go to ashkicking.com.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, y'all? And welcome to another edition of the DBN Radio Show. I am your host, Dante, and we about to get it in, man. We got a whole lot of boxing talk. We doing a solo today, man. We doing a solo today, but I do have a very, very special guest, and I believe that this guy is going to be pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world real soon. So let me go ahead and bring him in and introduce my man, Regis Prograis. What's going on, Regis?
What's up, dog? You gotta get my name right, bro. Regis Prograis.
Okay, Prograis. Okay, my bad, man.
Prograis.
Regis Prograis. Let me go ahead and get that right, because we're gonna be hearing that name a whole lot. So we got Prograis in the building. Congratulations, man. You knocked out Julius Indongo in the second round. Hey, was that your aim? Was you targeting trying to, be more impressive than Terrence Crawford in that fight? Or what was your thoughts going into that fight, Regis?
Really, my thoughts going into the fight, it really wasn't my aim, but it was definitely my aim to be impressive in the fight. As far as outdoing Terrence Crawford, at first I wasn't, but then it definitely was in the back of my head, like, yeah, I gotta outdo Terrence Crawford. So that's what I did. I went out there and I outdid him. And that's I want to shine. I want to look good and shine. I didn't think it was gonna go 2 rounds. I thought I was gonna knock him out, but you know, I still want to shine no matter what. I want to go out there and look good, and I got it. You know, I got it over in less than Crawford did. So I'm definitely happy with that. Yeah,
and you probably wanted to be more impressive than Mikey Garcia in the Sergey Lipinets fight too. I'm assuming, right? I mean, what did you think?
I wasn't really worried about that fight, you know, because it was the day after. I was just worried about the Crawford thing. You know, I wanted to compete with him. You know, he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. You know, most people say number 1, something number 2, whatever, but, you know, and I outdid him, you know. So I want to go out there and, you know, just be impressive and, you know, compete with Terrence Crawford.
Mm-hmm. So who's on it? Did you go to that? Did you go to the Mikey Garcia Sergey Lipinets fight?
Yeah, I went. I went.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna still go ahead and ask the question. So who's on that short hit list right now, man?
I mean, really, you know, I'm supposed to fight the winner of Amir Khan and Jose Ramirez. That's Saturday at Madison Square Garden. I'll be there also. I'm supposed to fight the winner of them for the WBC title, official WBC title. And I want the belts, man. I want all the belts, you know. So Mikey has a belt now. And I definitely want to fight Mikey in the next year or 18 months, something like that. I think that'll be one of the biggest fights in boxing, you know. So, and then the other dude that beat Ransom from Hollywood, I forgot his name, but he got the WBA title. I definitely think that'll be easy work for me, you know. So I want the belts, you know. I want the belts.
You want all the belts, man. I mean, now, first of all, since we got to go ahead and stick with the business at hand that's going to be next for you, the winner of Ramirez against Imam. Who wins that fight? Who do you think is going to win that fight?
And I don't know, man. I think it's a 50-50. I mean, if it goes the distance, I think Ramirez wins. But I think Ahmad he has the puncher's chance to get him out of there, knock him out. But I don't know. It depends. It depends on. It depends if it goes the distance or not. I don't see Ahmad getting. I don't see him beating him in a decision. Beating Ramirez in a decision.
You don't see him beating him in a decision? Okay. That's
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he'll beat him in a decision because, you know, I think he'll apply the pressure. And Ahmad, it depends. I think he has a puncher's chance. Like I said, I think he can get him out of the. Maybe he can knock him out. But if he doesn't knock him out, I think he'll lose the decision.
Okay. So what did you think about Mikey Garcia's performance? I got some people, Regis, saying that some fans in the comment section, they saying you're not ready for Mikey Garcia. Some of them are saying that Mikey Garcia is pound for pound now. Just give me your thoughts on all of this stuff, man. His performance over Sergey Lipinets and all that, Regis.
As far as I'm not ready, I just think people don't know what the hell they're talking about. But whatever. I definitely think, how you gonna say I'm not ready? I'm 21-0, 18 knockouts. I just knocked out Julius Indongo, which is a former 2-time world champion. I knocked him out in 2 rounds, 1 less than Crawford did. People never gonna give you respect, but it is what it is. You know, I really don't worry about that stuff. But as far as Mikey's performance, Mikey looked real good. Lipinets actually showed a lot of heart. I think I have a good fight with both of them. You know, Lipinets did real good. I was there live. Lipinets had. He did real good, man. He was tough, and Mikey is actually tough too. Lipinets caught him with some big shots, and you know he just bounced back from it. You know, but I seen some flaws in both of them. Actually, I seen some things in both of them, so that I think I can expose. Like I said, I think I'll have a good fight with either one of them. But of course, I do want to fight Mikey. He has the belt now, so I will want to fight Mikey.
Okay, and for those of you guys just tuning in live right now, you guys are listening to the undefeated Regis Prograis. He just knocked out Julius Indongo this past weekend, and he's talking about all the fights that he wants, everybody on his hit list. So and then you had your boy Richard Comey, who knocked out Luna. Did you catch that one?
I watched that. I sure did. I watched it. Yep.
Okay.
That was good. That was actually a real good fight too. They was going back and forth. But I think the other dude was Luna. He could have got up, but he did get knocked out. He got knocked out with a clean punch, but I think the referee stopped the fight a little prematurely.
Okay, that's what that is. Now, I mean, I'm just wondering if so do you believe, going back to Mikey Garcia, since that seems like that would be the biggest fight for you? I know you got a lot of stuff you got to take care of, or you got one more fight you got to take care of before that. But do you think he would take that fight? You think Mikey Garcia would take that fight with you, Regis?
I mean, Mikey's kind of a free agent, so I think Mikey wants the biggest fight for the biggest money, which we all do, of course. But I think my name would demand the biggest fight, that the big money for him at the 140-pound division. I couldn't see nobody else, that Mikey will fight. I don't know nobody else that he will fight at 140, besides myself, So, as far as the big money fight, my name is not as big as his, but as far as 140. I think I'm the only one that can really stand in his way to say he's the best at 140. It's really nobody else right now. I feel it's just me and him that can say they're the best at 140. I think I am. He thinks he is, so that's why I think that, me and him need to fight eventually down the line.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how do you think that fight would play out? You think that would be a fight where you would have to outbox him? You think you can knock him out? I mean, how do you think a fight like that would play out?
With somebody like Mikey, he definitely has a good chin. I don't think I would even try to knock him out unless, I don't try to knock nobody out, but, I mean, my thing is, my style is I go out and I try to hurt people, so if I get the knockout or not, I still go out and try to hurt them, so I would go out there and try to hurt them, but if I, I don't respect nobody's power yet, I got 21 fights, and I haven't respected nobody yet because nobody came close to hurt me. Now, if I feel Mikey has enough power so I can play a little defense, then I definitely think I can outbox him, because I think my feet and my hands are faster. Mm-hmm. But, it depends on what I want to do. All my fights it depends on what I want to do with the whole Julius Sandago thing. Everybody's asking, what about his reach? What about this? What about that? And I say, that to me, none of that stuff matters. It depends on what I want to do. And when I'm in the ring, I feel like I'm going to be the boss. And, that's what it is.
Hey, Regis, it's interesting you brought up reach because speaking of reach, Mikey Garcia, he told me he thought at 135 that Robert Easter would be the most difficult challenge because of his reach and his height. But then later on, after Robert Garcia Easter's last fight, I asked him if he's going to fight him because he said he want to unify the belts. And he said he don't know if he's going to fight him, but he said he no longer thinks that he's the most difficult because of his performance. But at the same time, he didn't really sound like he was real, sure that he was going to take that fight. He said he more wants like the Linareses and other fighters. Your thoughts on that whole situation? Do you think he should fight Robert Easter before he moves up, or what do you think about that whole situation?
I don't see Robert Easter beating him. Robert Easter has long arms, but he doesn't really use them to his advantage. He's big for 130. He's very big for 135, and he's long. But I just don't think that it's a different level to it. He's not on. Robert Easter is not on Mikey Garcia's level. So I just don't think that. The reach would. Yeah. I don't think reach would matter.
Okay. Well, like I said, hopefully, once again, hopefully that fight comes to fruition, man. Hopefully that fight comes to fruition. I'm really hoping that it does. Hey, Regis, before I let you go, let me take a call. I got a whole bunch of people on the lines right now, and I want to see if they want to ask you a question or anything like that. You down with that, Regis?
All right. Yeah. All right.
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, we got 832. What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
Man, you already know how I do, man. What's poppin'? What's dropping, Dante? What's poppin'? What's dropping, Mr. Regis?
What's going on? My man, Jimmy J. Smooth. What's going on, Jimmy? What's going on, man?
Man, I had a great time in San Antonio, man. And you need to holler at Al Heyman or whoever. I can't even think of the other black guy. But anyway,
Sam
you need to
Watson?
holler at them and tell them to bring more. Yeah, you need to tell them to bring more fights up in Houston in Texas, period, man, so I can take that little 2.5-hour drive and go see them fights, man. And I'm sorry I couldn't see your fight, Mr. Regis, man, because, you know what I'm saying, I had work the day before, but you know what I'm saying, it was a couple of hours away, man, so, I came over and, seen it, but I wish I had seen your fight, man, you know what I'm saying. But question to you, Mr. Regis, man, is your objective is to be undisputed at 140?
I think so. Of course, the money always matters. I do want all the belts. Yeah, I mean, as far as I want all the belts, I do want to take all the belts. But if another big money fight is like at 147, then I might jump up to 147. You know, I want, you know, the same thing kind of what Mikey is doing. He has options on 35, 40, and 47. You know, so if I can do that, if I can put my name in the same type of place, put myself in the same type of situation, I might do that. But I definitely do want all the belts at 140. I want all of them.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, Mr. Regis, you have like an 82% knockout rate, man. So, man, why you busting so many people's head, man? What's the business, man? I don't want them to duck you up at 140, man. What's up with the head buster awards you giving out to these people, man?
I'm a killer, dog. I'm a killer. That's all it is. Like, I'm a killer. I go out there, and I'm not trying to outbox you. I'm not trying to go to this. Well, I could go to this, but I'm a killer. Like, I want to go out there and destroy my opponent, you know, no matter what. Like, every punch I throw, they're going to feel it, you know, no matter what. I'm not going out there to try to, you know, outbox people and all that. Man, I'm going out there, and I'm going to break them down, I'm going to hurt them, and I'm going to get them out of there.
That's
so my thing is,
Go ahead.
Another question I wanted to ask you, man. What happened with my boy Rances Barthélemy, man? I expected him to be the first Cuban 3-division champion, man. And to me, it seemed like he was not letting his hands go. Watching that fight live and direct in San Antonio, he wasn't letting his hands go. What was your conjecture of the fight from your point of view?
Yeah, I don't know what his game plan was. You know, from first round, he was just moving around and not throwing punches. So I think I don't know what his game plan was. But I couldn't say, you know, if he was tired or what he was trying to. I don't know what his game plan was, because in the first couple of rounds, he just came out just moving, and I don't know, man.
Hey, Regis.
He just had a bad game plan. Yeah.
And speaking of the game plan, Regis, Rances, he did say before the fight, the Relic, he said he hits like a tank, and he had hurt Rances real bad in that first fight. You think he just came in there with a lack of confidence? Because that's what it looked like. He looked like a total different fighter in that fight. He looked like he lost confidence, and all he was worried about was not getting hurt again. That's what it looked like to me. Is that how you seen it, Regis?
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know he said that, but thinking about it, if now that you said that, that's probably what happened. He was just scared to get caught. The dude probably hit too hard for him, and he was scared to take a punch. Because I don't know. I guess that was his game plan, not to get hit and wear the dude down, move around, give him lateral movement, and try to make him tire himself out. But he didn't. So that's now that you said it, makes sense that he was just scared to get hit.
Yeah, and Rances and Regis, I believe, because we talked about this, we touched on this last time you was on the show when we talked about certain fighters in the welterweight division that aren't in a hurry to fight Errol Spence, and I was alluding to this when we talked before, when I basically said this is why I think a lot of fighters sometimes they're concerned about a loss, because psychologically they become affected, and sometimes a person loses, sometimes they better, sometimes they're never the same. Is that how you see it when it comes to a setback, Regis?
Yeah, well, it's like I said, like boxing, it depends on the type of fighter. The type of fighter I am, I'm going to hurt you, not just your body, physically. I'm going to hurt you mentally, and I'm going to hurt you emotionally. Like the people I'm going to hit, like they going to feel it. They going to remember that. They going to remember that hit for the rest of their life. So when you, and Errol Spence kind of the same way, he don't just beat you, he beats you up. There's some people that's gonna beat you. You got like the Floyds, and they gonna beat you. Mm-hmm. But you got people like Manny Pacquiao or like Cotto or like how Margarito was. They're gonna beat you up. They're gonna hurt you to where you're gonna even think about retiring. And that's the type of fighter I am. That's why fighters don't want to fight me, because they know, look, you fight him, he gonna hurt you. Like he gonna take something out of you. And I think
I agree.
And that's what type of fighter Errol Spence is also. He doesn't just beat people. He hurts people. He beats people up, and he's trying to hurt his opponent. So it's only certain fighters that can do that type of thing. Do those type of things. Some of them are boxers, but some people just go out there to hurt people and try to just beat them up. And that's the type of fighter I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put, man. Hey, man. Well, I know it's late out there where you are, Regis. I want to thank you, man, for getting on the horn with us and celebrating your vicious knockout you had over in Indongo this past weekend. Anything else you want to say? Anything else on your mind, family?
Nah, man, everything good. I'm about to chill for a little while. I'm going to the fight, in New York next week. I'm gonna see, what I'll be looking at. That's most likely that'll be my next opponent. Just keep following, and I'm gonna keep doing my thing. I'm gonna keep getting better. I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing. Just, beating the hell out of people and giving exciting fights, and that's what it is.
That's what it is, man. Congrats, man. And I'll be talking to you after you have that fight with the winner of Ramirez against Imam. Okay, man?
Cool, man. Thanks, bro.
All right, man. Thanks, man. Take care, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was Regis Prograis, as he corrected and told me at the beginning of the interview. Jimmy J, man, I meant to hit you back. Yeah, I didn't make it out there, man, but I'm gonna be in Texas for sure sometime this year, man. So I'll definitely be out there. Hey, Jimmy, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm still there, live and direct, man. Yeah, man, Regis Barthélemy really disappointed me. I don't want to clown him too much because, he's my Facebook friend and he might give me an uppercut. But, man, you know what I'm saying? I was real disappointed, coming all the way from Houston, Texas, man, seeing the boy, man, not throw his hands, man. Even the crowd was like, motherfucker, throw your goddamn hands, dog. Yeah. The crowd was pissed off at him, man. They were going off in there, man. But you know what I'm saying? Hopefully he can bounce back from that and get another title and, do his thing again, man. You know what I'm saying? But the Mikey Garcia fight, that was very exciting, man.
Very.
I enjoyed it, man. I saw Mikey Garcia winning all 12 rounds. You might have saw the fight differently than I did, but, of course it's different seeing a fight live. And this is my first time watching a fight live. So, you're going to see things differently live than you do when you see it at home and stuff like that. But I saw him just straight up dominating Lipinets and stuff like that, man. He was like giving Lipinets right hands all night. I was thinking Lipinets was going to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? The way he was taking right hands, man.
Yeah. I mean, it could be argued that Mikey did win every single round. What was really impressive with Mikey Garcia is every time Sergey Lipinets did good in a round, Mikey would raise the bar. So that's the reason why you could say he won every round, because Sergey Lipinets, he would do good, and then Mikey, he would kind of put him back in his place. He would catch him with a couple of them right hands, and he would put him back in his place. But see, the main mistake that Sergey made in this fight was he kept standing mid-range right in front of Mikey Garcia. He was a sitting duck. Sir. Yeah, he was a sitting duck for the right hand, and when he closed the gap, it looked to me like Mikey was more uncomfortable, because then it was more like an Orlando Salido type of fight, But when he was standing right in front of Mikey Garcia's right hand, he put Mikey in his comfort zone. So it'll be interesting, man. It's going to be real interesting to see Mikey go against different type of opponents, especially against Regis Prograis. Because Regis Prograis, I believe that he's the type of fighter that would go on the inside. He'll stay on. He'll box from the outside. He'll fight mid range. He'll fight close range. So that would be interesting. Things is looking pretty. Things are looking pretty thick right now for Mikey Garcia when it comes to opponents, because you still got Robert Easter, Linares at 135. You got Regis, at 140. You got the winner of Amir Imam and Ramirez, which should be a really good fight. So it's a couple good fights, man. Yeah. So but go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, 140 is a more stacked division than what people give it credit for. Mm-hmm. And another thing, I think Mikey should stay at 140 because I think he has the potential. I'm not saying he will, but he has the potential to unify 140 completely, just like Terrence Crawford did. Oh, yeah. So I think he needs to go on and try to get all those belts at 140. Then move up to body count Spence. Because if he try to move up to body count Spence at 147, Errol Spence gonna get that body count down, man, and end his career. I'm telling you right now. So I would advise, if I'm his family, I would advise him to try to clean out 140, just like Terrence Crawford did. Terrence Crawford made the right decision by cleaning out 140 and then moving up to 147. You know what I'm saying? So you got a killer up there. I know Mikey Garcia really won't claim that he won't claim that he won't Errol Spence, but he needs to think twice before he goes up to 147.
Oh,
because there's some killers at 147.
And yeah, I mean, we got to see how he does. I think it'll be a good gauge, a good barometer, just to see how he does against Regis Prograis or Regis Prograis at 140. I think that'll be a good test right there for him. And I still think he should fight. I mean, he said he wanted to unify the belts at 135. I still think he should fight Robert Easter. I mean, I keep hearing people say, well, he will beat Robert Easter, but we have to have a conclusion. You know, this is the whole reason why, you know, we have all of these sports, you know. I mean, we don't just pick a winner and the fight doesn't happen. We have to see it happen. We still got to watch the Super Bowl no matter who we think, you know, is going to win, you know. I mean, there was an upset.
I agree.
There was an upset this year when it comes to the Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, that's the reason why we have to actually see it. There have been a lot of upsets in all sports, not just boxing. But let me go ahead and give a shout out to my cats that's holding it down in that DBN Super Chat Army, showing that love. I'm gonna butcher this name. What's this? Derico Morris. I appreciate that. And Reggie Owens. I appreciate y'all showing love, the donations and everything, and everybody in the comment section. I appreciate you guys showing love. Hey, hang out with me for a minute, all right, Jimmy? Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
You could jump in anytime because I'm riding solo tonight. So I'm keeping you on the horn for a minute. Let's go ahead and take another call.
Okay.
We got 281. What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
What's going on? Dante just wrong from Houston.
What's going on? Houston in here thick. Texas in here thick. What's on your mind, Rome?
Nothing much, man. I done missed Prograis again, man.
You say you missed Prograis again?
Yeah. I ain't get to holler at him. I was just listening in, but now I was gonna say, what's your thoughts on how people talking about Wilder? Like, basically, they not giving his performance the same, like, value as they did with the Klitschko Joshua, like, that he came from adversity. They trying to downplay it, like, since he, you know, got tagged a little bit, he ain't just had no dominant performance.
Well, I'll put it this way, man. When Golovkin gets hit, they say he did it on purpose, because he didn't care about the opponent he was in there with, and he just wanted to show how tough he was, and he didn't care, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, when Deontay Wilder gets hit, now this, you know, he has flaws. Now, you know, he lacks defense, et cetera, et cetera. So you can't win for losing at the end of the day. People need to realize he wasn't getting hit by a tomato can. He wasn't getting rocked by a tomato can. He was getting hit and rocked by top 3, the best heavyweights in the world, or the best heavyweight in the world. I mean, it could be argued that Luis King Kong Ortiz is actually more skilled and technical than Anthony Joshua. You know, he's a southpaw. He fights like a middleweight and as opposed to a heavyweight. So, I mean, there's a lot of intangibles when it comes to that situation. But at the end of the day, I still believe that Anthony Joshua, he is respecting Deontay Wilder completely. And I still don't think Anthony Joshua is in a hurry to take that Wilder fight. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
Well, from what I understand, Luis Ortiz have never been knocked out, even in the amateurs, from what I understand. So for Deontay Wilder to knock him out the way he did, that's very impressive. We're talking about a guy that's had 300 plus amateur fights and stuff like that. So people just need to give Deontay Wilder his respect, man. I mean, he's the bronze bomber, and they don't call him the bronze bomber for nothing. So Anthony Joshua need to stop ducking him, go on and make the fight, and get his legacy, and respect, I should say.
Absolutely. Well, he'll definitely, I mean, yeah, because that was the fight, you know, that was the fight he should have got all the respect in the world. I mean, people also have to remember Ortiz was also a number 1 contender for Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua he didn't take that fight. You know, he was trying to fight, you know, a couple of other mandatories or top contenders that was nowhere near on Ortiz's level. You know, so he didn't want to fight Ortiz. Just like Deontay Wilder said. Deontay Wilder said, you know, this was high risk, low reward. You know, he didn't have to take the fight. Deontay could have easily used the excuse, this man tested positive for steroids. He should never get an opportunity to fight for a title. He could have easily used that excuse, but he didn't know.
Well, definitely.
He still took the fight. So that's pretty much what it is, man. Anything else on your mind, Houston?
No, man, that's it. I'm going to just listen in, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, take care, man. Good stuff, man.
Good
Good stuff, man. So, yeah, that's pretty much what that is, man. And congratulations. And congratulations to my man, Money Pal the Fourth. He also had a win this weekend out there in Paris. You know, they was treating him like a celebrity out there, man. Once again, that's what I love about these other countries outside of our own country. These other countries, you know, they really, really respect the sport and appreciate the boxers. They don't care what your color is, what your nationality is. If they see talent, they're going to give you credit for it. So congratulations to my man Money Pal, man. Another good win out there in Paris, holding it down, man. That's pretty much what it is. Let me go ahead and take another call real quick. Let me try to get to some of these phone calls. Let's see who we got over here. Okay, we got 360. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Gary calling from Seattle area.
Okay.
Appreciate the program with Dante. Keep it going. Prograis was the first time I ever saw that young man. And, yeah, man, he looked real good. Really, really good. And a fight between him and Garcia would be real nice.
Yes, it would.
Real nice.
Yes, it would be.
As far as the Deontay Wilder, everybody just needs to go ahead and man up and give that young man his credit. He proved to everybody that he had a chin, regardless of whatever comments or criticisms that they may have had. They need to go ahead and man up and give him his props. And Joshua needs to take that fight, but you don't want to.
Yeah.
My thing was when I saw him hit Bremen Stevern.
Yeah, Bermain Stavern, yeah,
And yeah, I think when Anthony Joshua saw that, I think he had second thoughts after that, because that punch there was just devastating.
Yeah,
just ran back and laid him out.
I think,
I'm out. Keep up the good work, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. Take care, man. And I think it was before that, though. Just to add on to what dude just said right now, and I think it was before the Bermain Stavern fight. That matter of fact, I know it was before, because Anthony Joshua, he was already, saying, look, man, I don't have to fight him. I'll fight him when I want. I'm not going to be pressured into taking this Deontay Wilder fight. Anthony was saying that before the Bermain Stavern fight. So
okay.
Yeah. I think I think it really had a lot to do with the fact that, not only he was knocking out even Gerald Washington. I mean, because Gerald Washington was winning the whole fight, and it only took one right hand to erase everything that man did on the scorecards. Like I said before, man, Deontay Wilder, man, he got them cheat codes, man. He got them cheat codes. That's what it is, man. He playing Mario. Yeah. He playing Super Mario Bros. With 100 lives. You gonna beat the game.
Yeah.
You gonna beat the game with 100 lives. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. That's just what it is. But anyway, man. Well, thanks for your call, though. All right, man. I'll go ahead and
appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
All right, man. All right, take care, bro. All right, man. So yeah, man. Yeah, we're not gonna be on here too long today. But I do, like I said, want to take a couple more calls, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And I know y'all see me rocking the hat, so shout out to my man Teofimo Lopez. He gave me a couple fresh fly hats. I got a gold one, a white one. So that's what's up, man. Shout out to undefeated prospect Teofimo Lopez, man. I appreciate the love. So anyway, let me go ahead and see who this is. Hold on one second. I got somebody else on the line right now here. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and introduce, we got another special guest on the panel, my man Tony with AB Boxing News, a boxing reporter like myself holding it down out there in New York. What's going on, Tony?
What's going on, Dante? How are you?
All right, man. We had a good weekend of boxing, man. We had a real good weekend of boxing. Let me just get your quick thoughts on Mikey Garcia against Sergey Lipinets.
yesterday Mikey dominated. Mikey showed why, he's going up there and he's making a big name for himself. He's been out of the game before 2.5 years, but it's like he missed nothing. And, Mikey just keeps, he just did something that Manny Pacquiao has done. He's got titles at 126, 130, 135, 140. This fighter Mikey's not he's not a joke. This guy's the real deal.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's definitely the real deal. And he's one of them rare fighters, man, where his power, translates. Because those right hands that he was landing, man, it's like you could feel the TV shaking if you watching it on TV, man. Them was some hard right hands that he was catching Sergey with. Credit to Sergey, he must have a hell of a chin, man, because those were some solid right hands that would usually, if not knock a fighter out, at least deter him. And Sergey, didn't seem too discouraged or deterred in that fight. So, but yeah, man, once again, I had Regis Prograis on the show earlier, and there's some real good fights out there for Mikey, man. Real good fights for Mikey. So, what do you want to see Mikey do, Tony? You want to see him unify the belts at 135? Or you want to see him just go straight up to 140 and unify at 140?
I think Mikey should stay at 140. That's my opinion. 140, he should stay. But Mikey talked about going to 147, and I think Mikey's a great fighter. But 147, you really got to bring your power, and I think he's got to be cautious going to 147. In my opinion. Oh yeah. But because I was at Mikey Garcia's camp, and how, of course, other fighters, stablemates, they'll pump their fighters up. But I think these guys were genuine when they were telling me. They said that they spar with Mikey, and they say he hits harder than some of the middleweights in there, is what they were saying. So I think the reason why Mikey talks about welterweight, because he probably knows that, he's naturally a big, strong guy. But we'll know, but we'll really know if he's ready for 147 if he cleans up everything at 140 like Terrence Crawford did. Right. So that's exactly. And if he's saying that he's willing to fight Errol Spence, then that means he can also fight Terrence Crawford, who would probably be closer to his natural weight anyway. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll definitely see what happens, man. So anyway. Hey, let me go ahead and take another call. Let's go ahead and get to another call over here. Okay, we got 337. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Dante? This is D from Lafayette, Louisiana.
All right. Texas, Louisiana in the building. What's going on, man?
At the house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, I just want to give props to my dude, Regis Prograis, man. I've been following that dude forever. I'm so happy this dude finally getting his just due. That dude's amazing.
Yes, he is.
Also, I want to talk about the Mikey fight, man. Mikey did a wonderful job. I'm a huge Mikey fan, man. Mikey better not go up there messing with Errol Spence, man.
You said he better not. Is that what you said?
He better not go up there messing with Errol Spence, man.
Yeah. That's a tall order, man. That's a tall order. I don't even know. Like I said, man, it's just so much unfinished business before he even makes it to 147, man. There's a lot of good fights for Mikey Garcia right now. Like I said, I still believe if he's still talking about 135, regardless of who we think will win the fight, it still makes sense for him to unify those belts. And I say fight Robert Easter. I say that makes all the sense in the world. You got another champion who's aggressively calling you out. That's the fight that needs to happen, regardless of who we think is going to win the fight. Let me go ahead and also introduce my man who's always a part of the panel. His son just had a terrific win this weekend out there in Perez. My man, Money Powell III, is on the line. What's going on, Money? Congratulations, man.
Hey, man. Hey, thanks a lot now. Appreciate that, man. How's everyone? How's everything for you?
All right, man.
Everything good.
All right,
hey,
man.
That's what I'm talking about. I was just making our way back home.
Where you at right now? Where you at right now?
Hey, man, just pulling back up in here into Columbus, Georgia now.
Nice, man.
Yeah. Long trip.
I appreciate that, man, because I know you're tired, man. So for you to call in right when you get back in, man, I appreciate that. Go ahead, Jimmy. Is that you?
Hey, Hey, Dante, no, that's D, man. I just got to say this to Mr. Money Power now that he's on the phone and I got a chance to speak with him. Man, I just want to thank you so much for raising a great son like you did, man. It's so amazing to see this young man carrying himself so well, mannered and well-class, and not like, some of these other ones we get to see, man. I just want to give you props on that, man. That's amazing, man. And I pray for your son, man, and I hope nothing but the best from him. As a matter of fact, he's my favorite prospect right now.
Hey, thanks a lot. That really means a lot. It really does. And trying to be the example in order to, just like to lead in a positive way, man, because that can be done. I think a lot of that sometimes is overlooked. A good father, and just in general, I think some of us are overlooked, but we're here. We like to raise our children in a way to where they're, positive examples and go out and do good things in society in general, man. Mm-hmm. I sure appreciate that.
My grandfather started a boxing gym in the town where I'm from, and it wasn't to make champions. It was actually to increase the African American male graduation rate in high school. In order to stay boxing, you had to do good in school. And when my grandfather passed away in 2000, man, we had a 99% graduation rate.
Nice.
Wow.
And a lot of well-mannered kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of well-mannered kids, and someone else has now since taken over the gym since he's passed, and he's doing pretty much the same thing. And they don't get no recognition or anything. But when I see somebody like Money, man, it just makes me feel like, man, that's what my grandfather was doing at a meeting.
Man, that's all right. But I tell you what, Dante made a very solid point earlier. When you're over in Europe and those people see you and they see that you're talented, my goodness, man, they give you treatment like beyond, you would think that some of the younger up-and-coming fighters would be, something like 20-0, 30-0, whatever the case, and come to find out they're 5-0, 6-0, whatever, and it's like they get royal treatment, which is awesome,
Absolutely.
And it's really special, man. It really is. And I talked to the president of Ringstar France, and he said, hey, anytime you want to come back, please do.
Oh, man. And like I said, man, I just hope before y'all blow up, I'm hoping you go out there a couple more times before you blow up and stay in the States, man. So I'm trying to go out there with you guys on one of these trips, Money, for sure, man.
Man, most definitely, man. And I'll tell you what, because with you coming out that way and then, covering stuff, that would be pretty cool.
Oh man, I'm doing it, man. I'm trying to hit every country, before it's all said and done, man. So hey, but Lafayette, man, I want to say thanks for calling in. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get to another one. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right,
appreciate
thank y'all,
that.
man. Thank y'all,
you
man.
Take care.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, Money. So hey, is Money there with you?
Yeah. Hold on just a minute. Oh, hold on just a moment.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get it. Hold on.
All right.
Can I get you to stop Dante for a second? He's on the radio.
We're gonna try to get Money Powder Fourth on the line right now. Talk about his win he just had out there in Paris against Ibragimov.
Hello.
Hey, Money! Congratulations, family. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing, Dante? Thank you, man.
All right, man. Another one in the bank. You got a unanimous decision over Ibragimov out there. Your thoughts on your performance, man? How do you rate your performance?
Well, to be honest, I should have, put my punches together a little more, because a lot of times sometimes I start thinking a little too much. But I wanted the knockout, but we won every round easy, convincingly. But just something I know I need to work on more. Just sometimes just put my combinations together more with a guy that wasn't opening up, because he didn't really want to engage, and he was playing a lot of defense.
Yeah.
And guys that really don't want to open up, sometimes I just need to beat them down until they decide to open up and just flat out quit.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was real defensive in the fight. And guys, I'm trying to upload the fight on my channel for everybody who's asking for it. So I'll try to have it uploaded on my channel. Yeah, man. So how soon do you expect to get back in the ring, Money?
As soon as possible. Just waiting for a Ringstar, a Richard Schaefer to to give us another date. And whenever he does, whenever they offer us a fight, we always take it. We're always ready to go. I'm always training hard. You know, with Coach Jay, my dad, the rest of the team, we're always going around getting sparring with guys. And whenever they give us that call, we're more than ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Were you able to catch any of the fights this weekend since you were out there?
Yeah, I saw pieces and parts of not Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia and Lipinets, and I saw some of who was Valdez and Quigg. Scott Quigg, I think so.
Yeah,
Valdez. Is that you say his name?
Yeah, you got it, Scott.
Yeah,
Quigg.
those are some really good fights. Those are some really, really good fights.
Yeah, there was. And I'm sorry, did you say you caught the Mikey Garcia Lipinets fight?
I caught pieces and parts of it because it was hard to stream over there, but I caught pieces and parts of it. I saw when Garcia had knocked Lipinets down, but Lipinets, man, he was really game, like, to the whole. He was there to win. He was definitely not there to just be an opponent at all. He was definitely trying to keep that belt.
Yeah, he was definitely trying to keep the belt. And now you still fighting at 154, right, Money?
We're seeing where I'm probably going to end up being 54, 60. I'm shooting for 54, but it's really just about making the weight and feeling healthy doing it, because not trying to kill myself to make a weight if it's not meant for me to be there. But I'm not saying that I'm not at that weight yet, but we're deciding between 54 and 60, just whichever one is better for me physically. I feel healthy at that weight and strong. That's the one we're gonna stay at.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean that's why I said. I mean, because I'm assuming, man, as big as you are, you definitely don't want to be draining yourself. If
that's the main thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Because actually, when I was out there, this fight was at 160 pounds, and the guy Brian Castellano and a couple of other 154s are out there. I was a lot bigger than them, like just physically all the way around, a lot taller than them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I can't believe these guys are that small. But if I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing, if I can make that weight healthy, then I would definitely fight 54. Like, if I can feel strong doing it. But hey, if not, 60 with no problem still too. Yeah. Either one.
And last question, and I'm gonna let you go, Money. So you sparred with Jamal Charlo. You got a lot of rounds in with Jamal Charlo. Two-part question. How much did that help you? And how do you see a Charlo versus Golovkin fight? And do you even think the fight will even happen? If you can answer all those questions.
Oh, man. Well, working with Jamal, man, that was an amazing experience. He's definitely good, man. He's the truth for real. And I think a lot more people should give him the credit, because, even though he's moved up to 160, and some people say, well, he hasn't fought this guy, that guy. Trust me, when he fights this guy or that guy, he's still going to do the same thing he's been doing. Mm-hmm. But work with him, man, is really helped set my game up and just helped mature me as a fighter all the way around, especially being in there with a world champion like that, and just helping me grow, because he was telling me the same things, he did it when he was a young pro, being a catcher like Shane Mosley and even Laura when he was a lot younger. It helped him grow as a pro, and he helped me too. He showed me things that I could do to help make my game even better. But yeah, I loved working with him, man. It was a really great experience.
Nice, man. Nice.
But the other part to your question with the Golovkin fight, I would love to see the fight happen, man. But I saw Abel when he was on your show, and it seemed like he wasn't too anxious for that fight to happen. So
not at all.
I don't know, man. I think the only way for that to happen is literally Jamal just has to run through everybody to where there's flat out no way around to where Golovkin has nowhere to go. Because it's not Golovkin, bro. I think it's just Abel that doesn't want that fight to happen for some reason. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Money. I truly believe that if Golovkin had the confidence to beat him, he would tell his trainer, because at the end of the day, the trainer, he works for the fighter. You know what I mean? So
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So I believe if he knew, let's just say if Jamal Charlo, if he jumped in Dominic Wade's body, you know what I'm saying? I think that we would be seeing the fight, basically. You know what I'm saying? but that's not gonna happen. So, unfortunately, we getting robbed of great fights at the middleweight division. But hey, brother, I want to thank you once again, man, for jumping on the horn. I know you tired. Just traveled from Paris back to the States, and like I said, hopefully, man, hopefully I can go out there with y'all one of these days, man, and enjoy those. I sent y'all some dope DBN all gold shirts, man. So make sure.
Hey, man, thanks,
yeah, and I got some more coming for y'all too, man. But yeah, man, I wish I would have got that to you earlier, so y'all could have took them to Paris with you, man. But we.
It's all good, man. Make sure we rock them on the next train when we head out to the next fight. Don't worry, we definitely gonna help represent.
For sure, man. Good looking, family. I'll let you go, man, and I'll catch up with you later. All right, man.
All right, thank you, Dante. Be safe, man.
All right. Money Pal the fourth, undefeated junior middleweight / middleweight prospect. Once again, if you guys haven't seen too much of him, go ahead and check out his highlights on my channel. I got some really, really nice highlights of him knocking cats out and sparring and everything. And I got a lot of his fights on my channel as well. So check him out if you guys haven't seen too much of one of the best prospects out right now, Money Pal the fourth. Hey, guys, let's go ahead and take another call if we can. Let me see here. Okay, we got 434. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Dante? This is Lawrence Williams. I'm calling from Virginia.
What's going on? All right.
What's going on? Yeah, hey, man, I appreciate everything you do for the boxing community, man. I'm a huge fan of you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
The reason why I'm calling, it was an issue that bothered me last week at the Barclays Center card. And it was the Andre Darrell fight. I mean, that corner that he had was probably the worst I've seen from a experienced trainer. I don't know if you checked it. I know you was there at the fight.
Against Jose Uskastigi. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you watched that fight live. I mean, I know you was live, but I don't know if you watched it on TV yet. But that corner was crazy. And just watching the build up to the fight, we know that Andre Darrell is kind of past his prime. Everybody know that. And I just felt like, man, it didn't do him justice. And reason why it bothered me the most because I had company over.
You said because you had company over? Is that what you said?
I had a bunch of casual fans over, and they was asking me what's going on with the corner, and I couldn't give them no answer. I was telling them about Virgil. They knew about Virgil and Andre Ward, so they was like, why is he talking to him from outside the ring? Why the stool still left in the corner after the round ended? And I just want to get your take on that. How you felt about that?
Yeah, you're right. I didn't watch it on TV. I watched the fight live. I mean, me personally, I think, what concerned me the most is Andre Darrell. He was in the same situation. You know what? Do me a favor. Can you turn down your, because I can hear the live feed in your background and it's echoing. Can you turn that down a little bit, bro? Okay, Virginia. You hear me?
Yeah, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Andre Darrell was in the same situation that Rancis Bartholomew was in. Andre Darrell, he didn't look the same in this fight. He looked very uncomfortable, just like Rancis Bartholomew didn't look the same. They both had a tough fight, and they had to, they were kind of forced into this rematch. And psychologically, I don't think Andre Darrell was there all the way. From what I seen, I still got to go. Yeah, I still got to go back and watch it on TV to hear what my man is talking about when he talks about the corner. I can't really speak too much on the corner, but yeah, man.
I can.
Who was that?
That's me, Dante. It's Money.
Okay, go ahead, Money. Go. Your thoughts on that fight, Money? He didn't look the same, right?
Yeah.
He looked like he was affected.
He didn't look the same.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's just sort of like an extension from the first fight. Look, it's all about chemistry, and that's something that Coach Jay always talks about. You can have one of the best coaches that there actually is in any sport, and you can have the best athlete. But if they don't have the chemistry in order to really bring out the best of that team, none of that stuff matters. You saw Virgil up, and all of a sudden now you see him outside of the ring peeking in. I said, there's something seriously wrong. It became personal. You see Darrell going back and forth. I said, all right, I just he's already losing. It's just going to get that much worse now, and that's exactly what happened. It was bad chemistry.
Yeah.
It was a bad chemistry. You know?
I also
go ahead, Jimmy.
Personally, I saw Darrell taking right hands. When I saw Darrell taking right hands from the first 3 rounds, I was like, either this dude's going to get knocked out or he's going to quit in the corner. And that's just exactly what happened there. Mm-hmm. It's just a sad situation for Darrell, man, because he had a lot of potential. And I just hope he bounces back, but I don't know if he will.
Well, you know something? Here, okay, you always have that. Before I just write someone off, and we're not saying that we're writing him off, but sometimes Sugar Shane Mosley's kryptonite was who? Vernon Forrest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, when you had Evander Holyfield, who was his kryptonite? Riddick Bowe. And Riddick Bowe one time had a hard time, even though he lost in the rematch. You know, then the second fight, it was still kind of like a close fight, but it was just that. You know, you had Emmanuel Stewart, the wizard himself, that did just a couple of little small things that made a big difference. And that's sometimes that's what Darrell needed. That's what Bartholomew needed. Both of those guys just needed someone that, you know, just a couple of little small things in order to change some stuff up. But if you continue until a fight, a rematch, and you start off round 13 the same way, it's only a matter of time before you crash and burn, and unfortunately, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened in that situation. And this is why we have to really give fighters that deal with so much adversity, dealing with different type of opponents, you know, much bigger than them, or just have tremendous power, and they still find ways to win. You know, and they come back because, you know, I have to compare it to, of course, Floyd Mayweather, because he's like the Jordan of this era. But it's like when you look at Floyd Mayweather's close fights with Maidana, his close fights with Jose Luis Castillo, he came back better in the rematch. Right? You see Andre Ward. You know, he came back tougher in the rematch. He was hurt in the first fight. You know, just like Francis Bartholomew was rocked in the first Relic fight. But Andre Ward, he came back stronger, smarter, and better. Psychologically, he was prepared in that rematch.
Yes.
And that's what, you know, that's why you have to give those type of fighters a lot of credit when you see, you know, performances like this one with Darrell against Uskastigi, you know, or even Rancis against Relic, you know. So that's pretty much what that is, man. That's pretty much what that is. But once again, man. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You know, the psychological part, that just can't be stressed enough. And some casual fans may not really be able to understand that until you're like really on the inside with it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're still on the outside. The psychological portion just it goes levels beyond. It really does.
It's a huge aspect of the game. I mean, yeah, because once again, man, we've seen this happen too many times, and Money, we talk about this a lot. This is the reason why a lot of undefeated fighters, they are concerned when it comes to fighting certain other fighters, because like I said, you know, with some, like for Errol Spence, for example, you know, if people know that if they lose to Errol Spence, it ain't gonna be no close decision. It's gonna be just like Regis on Prograis said earlier. You know, if I beat you, I'm gonna beat you up. It's gonna affect you for the rest of your career. It ain't gonna just be a regular loss. And this is the reason why some fighters are concerned with you getting in there with some people. You know, it's not so much of being afraid, because once again I hear some of these fighters use these talking points, you know, saying, oh, no fighter is afraid of anyone. No, we're not saying you're afraid. No, of course you're not afraid to get punched. Of course you're not afraid to get in the ring, but you are, but you can be afraid of, you know, your money being affected, or psychologically you not being the same fighter, because we've seen it happen so many times in the ring. So
yes, definitely.
Hey, so Money, go ahead.
Or not just that, sometimes people are afraid of being exposed as well, because sometimes, let's say you're a fighter and you fight this guy, and even though you win a fight, you get exposed. Sometimes they're just afraid of getting exposed in a lot of cases, man.
Absolutely.
That is true. Because you know something, hey, Jimmy, you make a solid point. This is why. Because if I get exposed, I don't have any other answers outside of what I've always been doing. I don't have a go-to.
Yeah.
And there was no alternative. So yeah, they can be worried in that manner. And I'll just have to speak on this real quick. I got up to watch Regis fight, and I tell you what, man. You know, I was all in for him, true enough, but I just felt so bad at the same time for my man Indongo. Indongo literally got destroyed. I mean, it's like he got collected like taxes in the ring that night.
Oh man, he got collected. God,
I mean, I know that's a rough way to say it, but I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know, part of me was like trying to cheer for him, even though I was all in, you know, like for Regis. But I was like, man, you know, we just, oh well, things happen.
Man, he treated Indongo like a putty patroller for real, man. He got treated like a putty patroller that didn't do the job of real, man. Real talk, man.
Real talk. Yeah.
I feel for Indongo.
And
I really do.
And it just goes to show you how deep the 140-pound division is, because if it wasn't for Indongo having to face Prograis, you know, he probably would have got a couple wins. He probably would have, you know, got another title, you know. But he was in there with Prograis, you know. So once again, man, the 140-pound division is starting to build up to be one of the best divisions out there right now, with Mikey Garcia, you know, going in and out. Prograis, the winner of Ramirez versus Imam. Tony, you still there, right?
Yes, I'm still here.
Tony, your thoughts? I was hanging out there with my man Tony in New York when we was out there for the Wilder fight. Well, we always hanging out when I go out there to New York, but Tony he has a YouTube channel as well. Tony, what's your thoughts on Ramirez versus Imam since Prograis is going to fight the winner of that fight?
I think it's a great fight. I think Imam he's hungry. He's got to win this fight. It's a must-win for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
you know, as far as Ramirez got skills. I think this fight is not going the distance.
Yeah, I agree with you on. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, and you know what? I mean, and Money. This goes back to Money and Jimmy. This goes back to what I was saying. How is a fighter affected when he loses? We're gonna find out how Imam bounces back from that knockout loss, that he suffered before.
Yeah, was it Granados, right?
Yeah, against Granados.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
against Granados. So how does he bounce back from that? You know, I mean, because this is one thing I will give Manny Pacquiao credit for. You know, you got to give him credit. Well, whatever you want to attribute it to, but you got to give him credit for bouncing back. You know, being knocked out twice earlier in his career. And he went from being knocked out twice to becoming pound for pound, top one, top two, one of the best fighters in the world. So we'll see how Emir bounces back. But Money and Jimmy, your thoughts on Ramirez versus Imam? Go with Money. Let's start with you, Money. I think I lost. Let me see. Did I lose everybody or did I lose somebody? Let me see.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jimmy, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I lost Money. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, I think since Amir Rahman being close to home up in New York, because I think he's from Albany, New York, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's going to pretty much win that fight hands down.
Yeah.
You know, but like the guy said, he probably want to finish him like Prograis says, even though it's relatively close to his hometown. So, you know.
Well, what I will say, Jimmy, is if he ain't worked on his inside game, I think Ramirez is going to win that fight, because that was the thing that was exposed in that Granados fight. Imam, he had no inside work at all, and if Ramirez takes advantage of that, I see Ramirez winning that fight. You know, so, but we'll see, man. We'll see what happens, man. But that's a good matchup right there. That's a really, really good matchup, you know.
And both guys come in there with a high knockout rate, too, as well. You know what I'm saying? Ramirez has like a 73% knockout rate, and Amon has like an 82% knockout rate. So somebody could go to sleep Saturday night, man.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree with what Tony said, man. Someone's getting knocked out for sure. And once again, man, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see Prograis. You know, to me, Prograis, I'll be straight up. I'll say it right now, and I think Prograis, he would have the edge over both of those fighters right now from what I've seen. I mean, Prograis is looking good, man. Prograis is looking real good, so we'll see. Like I said, things are really heating up. Just look at that. You got Amir Imam versus Ramirez. The winner of that fight is going to fight against Prograis, and then you still have Mikey Garcia somewhere floating around 135, 140. So some great fights right there, man. Some great fights right there. So yeah, we lost money. He was traveling back home. They just flew in from Perez, you know, because they just got a win this weekend. So that's pretty much what it is. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to take maybe 2 more calls, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Let's go ahead and take another call. We got 410. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Dante, man? It's always a pleasure, man. It's Ray from Baltimore, man.
Okay, Ray from Baltimore. What's going on, Ray? What's on your mind?
Yeah, nothing much, boss. So calling in a few weeks ago, one of the last times y'all had a show, and basically what's been bothering me, and I've seen on other, new media platforms, is the simple fact of the matter is, it seems like it's a lot of black fighters that's under scrutiny, whether or not they call weight bullies, whether or not they called, people
boring.
that dance around and stuff, people that are boring. And, it bothers me, and it brings me up to, the sensational heavyweight fight last week with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. It seems like no matter what this man do, this man was a Golden Gloves champion. This man was a U.S. national champion. This man was an Olympian and medal. But they still talking about this man boxing skills as though he can't get it done. Listen, George Foreman is a legend. But back in the 1970s, he's the original windmill. You feel me? Like he was getting the job done.
Of course.
And what he was doing. But we in a different time now that decafs with their computers and chat rooms,
absolutely,
they feel so entitled to say the things that they say. And what makes matters worse is, this is no disrespect to Anthony Joshua. This is no disrespect to the other older, British fighter, Frank Bruno. It's like they want black heavyweight fighters. The ones they feel comfortable with is the ones that act like them. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you get the Abel Sanchez comment saying they should act a certain way out of the ring. I thought at the end of the day,
they should behave. They should behave a certain way, is what he said. But he changed that once he realized how it sound, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's talking points like you'll hear from like the 1960s and stuff like that, man. These guys are
full circle.
What happened to Darrell last week? We can blame it on the corner. We can blame it on a bunch of different things. But the bottom line is, these brothers need to start getting paid like they should be getting paid, man.
And you know what?
And
let me just say this before I forget let me say this before I forget my point, because you threw a lot out there, and I appreciate that. I just want to go ahead and just draw the distinction when it comes to Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder and why they're received differently. See, the thing is, Anthony Joshua is praised, but that's UK. He's been praised out there in the UK. Those are the UK fans, because the UK fans, even though they have their problems with all type of racial double standards and all that kind of stuff, but when it comes to the sport of boxing, they do come together out there in the UK. They'll support you no matter what your color is, unlike America out here. So that's the reason why when it comes to Deontay Wilder getting that Jack Johnson, coincidentalist treatment, is because he's out here, of course, in the States. Anthony Joshua is not really getting praised out here at all. That's all that love and reception that he's getting, that's coming, or the positive reception is coming from his country, the UK. So I just want to explain that so people understand it. And yeah, it really comes down, once again, like I said, it's full circle. Like you said, when it comes to these fighters on a coincidental list, if you're not getting knockouts, you're boring. If you're getting knockouts, you're either wild or you're on steroids or you're juicing or something like that. So once again, we know what it is, but like I said, we just have to keep exposing it, because this is how you catch a suspect. This is how you catch somebody who's on the run from the police, is you keep putting out bulletins of where they at, where they was last seen, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually they're going to make a mistake. They feel uncomfortable when you keep exposing what they're about. And this is what we doing in the sport of boxing. We exposing the decafs, and they uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So that's what it is at the end of the day. So go ahead, man.
Absolutely, man. But listen, man, I'm a person, I box myself, Dante. You box. I like to see a scientific boxing match. I'm one of the people, I appreciated Lennox back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. It's a science, man. Everybody want to see Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward. You know what I mean? But nobody's going to be with their families after the lights are turned off and after the fight is over. I feel bad for the Brandon Rios. I feel bad for all these cats that laid out on the line, but at the end of the day, they're not adequately compensated, or they don't have the right people around them to take care of that money like they should. So while all these people want to sit up there and criticize Mayweather, want to criticize other fighters, other black fighters, I'm just going to say, other black fighters for fighting the way that they fight. The art of boxing is to hit and not get hit. I am so sick and tired of all these. This is not the UFC, dog. You know what I'm saying? You want to see Steve Bay with a heavyweight champion, all them fights? You turn into the UFC, man. This is boxing. I think it's a straight up science. I just want to see the heavyweight champion of the world, the longest reigning heavyweight champion of the world, get some damn respect, because I'm sick and tired of these people. Not the media in the United States not giving the longest reigning heavyweight champion of the world, who's the Olympian, not giving this prop. I've been saying this. If he looked like Rob Gronkowski, he will be on Wheaties boxes and everything around. That's all I got to say, Playboy. I'll call it next time, man.
All right. Thanks, man. Good stuff, man. Real good stuff. And let me just say this on top of what he just said right now. See, that's a misconception when you hear fans say stuff like, they just want to see, Mickey Ward, Gatti, et cetera, et cetera. That's not even true. They don't want to see that. They want to see, what they want to see is certain fighters just win. And it's just certain fighters, and that's what it is at the end of the day. When, unfortunately, they just have a problem with the fighters on the coincidental list. Because when what's his name? When Gennady Golovkin fought against Lemieux, and he decided to just, out-jab David Lemieux, everyone in the comment section, they were saying, well, that's what you're supposed to do when you're fighting someone with power. You're not supposed to let him hit you, et cetera, et cetera. So all of a sudden, that whole Mickey Ward and Gatti, that concept went out the window when it came to a fighter that they actually liked. So that's what I'm saying. That's just a cover-up. That's a cover-up when they say, oh, these fighters, we just want to see action. We want to see blood and guts. No, you don't want to see your fighter get hit. And you damn sure don't want to see your fighter possibly get knocked out. So because we know that with Lomachenko. With Lomachenko, he does not get hit. And Lomachenko forced Jim Lampley to do a complete 180 on his Gatti list. Because before, Jim Lampley had this Gatti list where he was trying to say, you know what, we ain't going to praise these pound-for-pound fighters no more that don't get hit. We're going to come up with our own list for fighters who do get hit. And we're going to praise them, and we're going to have a list just for them, dedicated to them. But when Lomachenko came along, that forced Jim Lampley to contradict himself. Now he's calling fights saying, oh, man, he has the best defense in the sport. Oh, man, he can dance underwater without getting wet. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which they said on, live. I'm not making that up. They actually said that, during the Lomachenko fight. So, that's pretty much what it is, man. But anyway.
And also this explains the reason why HBO, aka HBO, in my conjecture, is why their boxing viewership is going down, man, because people are just getting tired of being deceived. And I mean, you don't want to watch no boxing match or anything for that matter, and people are study lying to you in your face, man. So it is what it is with Jim Lampley.
Well, Jimmy, they also don't have they don't have Top Rank anymore. They don't have Floyd Mayweather anymore. The Top Rank leaving really hit HBO hard, man. That really hit them hard, because the majority of their big fights came from Top Rank stable. Before it was a combination of Top Rank and Golden Boy, and now since they don't have Top Rank, and they really messed up when they let Floyd Mayweather go, because if they would have kept Floyd, they would have most likely had Al Heyman, working with them all this time instead of Showtime now working with Al Heyman. Now, don't get me wrong, eventually they are going to work with Al Heyman. They're going to have to work with him because he's signed, damn near 80% of the fighters right now, just like Danny Jacobs.
Right.
Just like Danny Jacobs is working with HBO, but he's also working with Al Heyman. But my point is, if they would have never treated Floyd Mayweather so bad, Floyd Mayweather most likely would have came with Al Heyman. You know what I mean? So they really, really messed up. That's why now a lot of these HBO fights are starting to look like them old-ass Friday night ESPN fights. The Tuesday night fights, that we used to see on USA. That's how HBO fights are looking now. I swear I be forgetting fights be even on HBO sometime, because I be waiting for this fight coming on ESPN or Showtime now, or Fox Sports or Bounce TV.
They became a victim to their success.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me introduce my man Kirk Jackson. He on the line right now, boxing writer for BoxingInsider.com. What's going on, Kirk?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
All right, just joined.
How you doing, brother Kirk Jackson?
Just joined.
Doing good, man. How you doing, man?
Just joined the panel.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm Kirk. I also want to introduce you, Kirk, to my man Tony from AB Boxing News. So just say what's up to. Yeah.
Hold on.
That's what it is, man.
What's good, Tony, man?
Hey, so your thoughts on everything we've been talking about, Kirk?
Well, just with that whole HBO thing, I think they became a victim to their success. They've been so successful over the years with all the main fights and having Floyd Mayweather, as you mentioned. I think they became so arrogant to the point where they felt like they can disrespect him and not, acknowledge him and give him his proper due. That, when the negotiation time came up and he was due to his mistreatment, he, as you guys just mentioned, he took everything with him, basically. I mean, he was, it's like if you have LeBron James or whatever, and he's the most highest attracting NBA player in regards to like what he does on the court, and then everything that comes off it. He brings so much attention. You're not going to sit here and like disrespect the product, because that's stupid. You're essentially alienating your fans, and I mean that's pretty much what they did with Mayweather.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they did. It was a stupid move. I mean, you had the cash cow. All you had to do is give him a little respect, and that just goes to show you the level of hate and disdain that Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant had for Floyd Mayweather. You know that this guy is the one bringing all the money to HBO, and yet you still hate his guts. That completely confirms and proves when you hear fans say, "Oh, this is just about money. This has nothing to do with with anything else. It's all about money." No, it's not all about money, because Floyd, he came with all the money, and they still treated him the worst on the network. You know what I mean? And so I hear some people say stuff like, "Oh, well, that's because of his personality and all that kind of stuff." But his personality and what you think about him personally has nothing to do with the actual sport. You know what I mean? Or how good he is. I mean, it could be, I could be watching a damn Nazi with swastikas tatted on him. But if his ass know how to do a nice pull counter, I'm gonna say, damn, that's a nice pull counter that he just put on right there. That's a nice ass jab that Nazi got. I mean, it is what it is. You can't combine, what you think about a person personally to what they're doing inside of the ring, and that's just what it comes down to. People can't separate their personal feelings at the end of the day. So
and I think they may have thought, well, he's not going anywhere, but they didn't really pay attention to him, because the same thing happened with Bob Arum. He wasn't getting paid his proper money, and over the course of time, he bought out his contract and started essentially promoting himself. Partnering with Golden Boy, but then pretty much promoting himself. And I mean, if you paid attention to his history, that's what he did. He was able to become successful. So I mean, him going over to Showtime shouldn't have surprised them. They should have kept that in mind, that this man, he has that self-made mentality. He can leave. He might just leave. And,
yeah. They weren't. We talk about this a lot, Kirk, and the reason why they felt that they could leave, they could let him go, they felt that he was expendable. The reason why they thought that is because they kept listening. This is why social media is a gift and a curse, guys, because social media can easily brainwash you, you know, and I think that happened with HBO. HBO was listening to all these decafs, and they started to truly believe, you know, if people hate Floyd Mayweather so much, just imagine how much they would love a Gennady Golovkin. Let's make Gennady Golovkin the next Floyd Mayweather. Let's make him the white Floyd Mayweather. I mean, this is pretty much what they thought would happen. They thought that they could make him just as big as Floyd Mayweather. They looked at it like, you know what? Once again, if they hate Floyd Mayweather and they're going to love this guy, just imagine how big he would be. But they don't realize it took Floyd Mayweather a long time to reach that status. And not only that, but Floyd Mayweather had to beat a lot of top 10 pound for pound fighters. He didn't just become a big name by just talking. He became a big name because he was talking, but he was beating top 10 pound for pound fighters. People don't realize this. Floyd Mayweather beat more top 10 pound for pound fighters than any fighter today. You know, so we talk about this pound for pound list. Yeah, we talk about this pound for pound list every day today, right? Floyd was beating guys on that list currently. And the majority of them he beat was in the top 5, not even just the top 10. So, yeah, man, HBO, they struck out, man. They struck out big time. And
I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry. You know, HBO. You know, where's their schedule? You know, Showtime is dominated last year, and Showtime looks like they're gonna dominate another year.
That's what it's looking like. Is that Tony?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, Tony. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like you said, they don't really have a schedule out right now. I mean, there used to be a time when, once again, HBO had all the big fights. Now, all of the big fights are on Showtime. I mean, it's just amazing. Exactly. Or they're either on Showtime or they're on ESPN. You know, so I mean, yeah, man. I think they looking for they might be looking for Al Heyman to throw him a lifeline right now because I think and I honestly I was just talking to my man Joseph which I'm gonna have him and his son on the show real soon. He has a prospect, a really good prospect. His son, he's been winning all the national tournaments. His dad is from Africa, and he's out in Chicago winning all these tournaments. He's like 8, 9 years old. I'm gonna have him on the show. He's even in the documentary. But we was talking about this, and he was saying, yeah, you know, Al Heyman. I wouldn't be surprised if Al Heyman eventually he's gonna be running things on HBO and Showtime. You know, because right now, if you think about it, I didn't think about that till he said it. But if you really think about it, right now, HBO, they are in a desperate situation right now. And who has all the fighters right now? Al Heyman has all the fighters right now. So, like I just said, we see Danny Jacobs is with HBO, but he's also with Al Heyman. So I see a lot of relationships like that building, you know. So, and if Al Heyman starts to do with HBO what he's doing with Showtime, then that would be good for the sport of boxing, and that would revive HBO. So we'll see what happens. But go ahead.
And not just that. Them letting Top Rank leave them was the camel that broke the straw back. You know what I'm saying, or however you pronounce it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying. But you know, Top Rank. You know, I say they have probably the second best stable behind the PBC right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, and you know, I'm not a fan of Bob Arum. You know, I call it top state. You know, for all I care about him. But I will give a guy props where props is due. Top Rank does have a good stable. Let's just keep it 1,010. And for HBO to let him lose, that's crazy as hell.
Absolutely, man. Let's go ahead and take another call. We starting to wind down. Let's take another call. All right, I know who this is. I got my man Reggie. What's going on, Reggie?
Yeah. What's happening, nation, man? Enjoying every topic you guys are speaking on, man. You the top of the game, my brother. I got to give you that credit right there.
Appreciate it, family. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And I want to speak on, you put me on, I never heard of this dude, Regis Prograis, until you guys brought him on the show speaking about him. When I watched him, man, the dude reminded me so much of old clips I used to watch of Floyd Patterson. The dude has a style that I love, and I watched him, I watched him break Indongo, and Indongo got scared in that fight. He wasn't really knocked out. I watched his whole spirit deflate in that fight and him give up because of what he was afraid of if he would have stayed in that fight. and I give that dude a ton of credit.
Yeah.
But the other things I want to touch on is the two subjects. The one you guys haven't covered yet is the Canelo steroid.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Steroid test that came up. I want to bring up that, but first I want to cover about giving Deontay Wilder his props. I have Deontay Wilder, forget a pound for pound list. I have him sitting at the top of boxing. What he pulled off in that fight against Ortiz, who a lot of people slept on. A lot of folks are sleeping on the type of fighter and the highly skilled fighter that Luis Ortiz was. And it was a true battle. You cannot knock anything that Wilder was faced against because he fought a true tactician. You look at Ortiz's amateur record, it is something you have to praise. They praise Lomachenko and Triple G's amateur record. You have to praise Ortiz's amateur record. And for a guy that big to move that way, Wilder pulled off some incredible shit.
Absolutely, man.
I agree.
And the whole thing is, once again, it's the same thing with Floyd Mayweather. It's that coincidental list, or even
right.
Andre Ward. They told Andre Ward to leave Gennady Golovkin alone. Why don't you move up to a higher weight? Why don't you fight the more dangerous, the more bigger Sergey Kovalev? Andre Ward surprised they asked, and he obliged them, and he did that and beat him twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing with Deontay Wilder. They say, oh, you fight bums, you cherry pick. Why don't you fight Ortiz? You scared of Ortiz? They were saying this about a year ago. He was scared of him. He was ducking the other dude who tested positive. I forget the other Russian dude who tested Povetkin. Deontay Wilder went over to Russia to fight him. You know what I mean? So it's like, once again, like I said, when you're on that coincidental list, they just praying to find someone on the hope list to beat them. And that's just what it comes down to. And the more they win, the more they'll be envied. And that's what we basically seeing. And there's only...
Right, but with your platform, we have to make these calves and these old style, old media networks, we have to make them irrelevant. Because now with your platform and others' platforms, the true fans have a voice, and we begin to speak. And they listen to everything that's being said on these platforms. And that's just like one thing I want to give you credit to, where I heard Deontay Wilder's manager speak up when he tried to expose Eddie Hearn, where he used your analogy on how pro football teams, basketball teams, they play all the way into the championship. And whatever that analogy you always use. Yeah. And I watched that guy use that, and I know he got that from watching your show. So they hear what's going on. And people have to, yes, indeed. And all of us as true fans, we can't give them a voice and empower them. We got to speak out and let them know the real. We ain't going for that shit.
Hey, real talk.
We got to speak it.
Reggie, you on point as always, Reg. And you right. That's the whole purpose of new media is, giving these guys the credit that they deserve. No matter what your background is, no matter what your race, no matter what your nationality is, if we feel you deserve the credit, you're going to get the credit. So obviously, if it's fighters right now on a coincidental list that's not going to get the credit they deserve, we're going to make sure they do get that credit. And you're right. Our voice is starting to be heard now because of this platform. So all day, man, that's what it's all about, man. I say it all the time.
And that's why I salute you.
Hey, good looking, man. Good looking out. I mean, the microphone is a powerful weapon, man. It's a powerful weapon, man. So that's what it is, man. Word of mouth. So yeah, man. So anyway, guys, let me see. Let's try to take another call before we end this. Hang out for a minute, Reggie. Hold on, let me see. Okay. So we got 929. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? My name is. How's it going?
What's going on? What's your name again?
Hello.
What's your name?
Vic from down here in New York City.
New York City.
Vic.
What's going on? You said Zeke or you said Vic or Zick? What do you say?
Like Victor, but Vic.
Okay, Vic. All right, what's on your mind, Vic?
Yeah. Hey, man, what I'm trying to figure out is what have they done with Demetrius Andrade?
What's that?
What have they done with Demetrius Andrade?
That's a good question. What happened to Demetrius Andrade? I didn't even think about that. Huh?
I'm trying to figure out.
I know he was supposed to fight the
the
he was supposed to fight Darianchenko or something like that. I know
Darian.
he was supposed to fight Darren Yanchenko for like the number one for the number one spot for one of Golovkin's belts, and that fight.
I think the IBF.
Okay, yeah, okay. So he was supposed to fight. That's all I heard about, and I heard that they needed more time or something like that. I'll try to get him on the show. I had him on the show a couple times, but I know he's kind of hot and cold when it comes to getting him on the show. So we'll try to get him on the show and see if
yeah, man, you got to do that.
Yeah,
you
man.
Doing some big things.
And guys, remind me, we got to go back to that Canelo topic before we
steroids, yes indeed.
Yeah, before we close out. But anything else on your mind though, Vic?
You got Canelo, Gennady Golovkin. Canelo only gets smarter from here. I think he picks him apart. I mean, it was smart for them to do to make it a draw, for them to go back in there. Overall, for me, when it comes to Gennady Golovkin and Canelo, I think Canelo is more, he has more skill, more mental IQ as well. But the issue is he lowered himself mentally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he balanced himself out, I feel like he balanced himself out mentally, so now he's playing on the same plateau as Gennady Golovkin. But if you look at Gennady Golovkin, a lot of people think he's a great fighter, but, he also leaves himself wide open way too many times, A guy like Demetrius Andrade, you get that guy in, constantly, I think he'll rip him apart. You got many looks, You got Gennady Golovkin just like with them wide punches, man. Throwing some real nice body punches, get in there, take him out of there, but
But you said
that's what happened.
But the thing with Golovkin is when he fought against Canelo, when Golovkin fought Canelo, he was uncomfortable with going to the body. He didn't go to the body. I kind of agree with what you're saying with Canelo, though. I mean, if Canelo goes in there with just a little bit more confidence, I could see him winning that fight. I could see him. I could see him winning that because I thought going into that fight, I actually thought Canelo would win the fight easy. To be honest, I thought he would win because I thought he would continue where Kell Brook and Danny Jacobs left off. And I thought he was going to basically, use that as the blueprint, but he didn't. He kind of surprised me. He was a little. They were both fighting a little reluctant. Kind of like Golovkin and Danny Jacobs. But I think in a rematch, if Canelo goes in there with the confidence, but once again, we don't know if he's going to be rattled from the power because something that Canelo said at the press conference that I was actually at, he admitted that Golovkin had a different type of power. He said that he did have a power, and that's surprising because the type of arrogance that Canelo has, I was surprised that he would admit something like that. And that reminds me of what Rances Bartholomew said before the Relic fight, before the rematch. He said Relic hits like a tank, and we seen how Rances fought in the rematch. So I'm just saying, food for thought. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we do see a confident Canelo, and he doesn't go in there gun shy like Rances did. We'll see.
I think it'll be different because Canelo has.
Go ahead, Kurt.
I'm gonna say I think it'll be different for Canelo because he has that public pressure from his Mexican people that he may feel like he let them down with the last fight, the last showing, and how there's the impression or the narrative that Golovkin is the true Mexican fighter because he always presses forward and brings the action. So I think with Canelo, he can't afford to be gun shy because it's one thing to be discussed in a negative manner with American media, but he's from Mexico, so that media, the narrative from them is much more important to him. So I think because of that, he won't be gun shy. And just with that fight overall, I think he watched the fight and realized, the mistakes that he made because he could have made that fight so much easier. He has the skill set to make that fight easy or easier at least. And I think he'll capitalize on that.
But you know what?
Here's what it is. When it comes to Canelo, he messes up when he plays at the same playing field. So like back to what he said, if he goes in there with that confidence, he can blow. I think he can take anybody out of there. If you look at confidence, huge factor. Fucking Conor McGregor never fought a boxing match a day in his life. But because he was so confident.
Well, he was an amateur boxer. He just wasn't a pro boxer. But yeah, I understand your point.
But, it's not the same thing. You know, I mean, like it's like, you know, you're playing at the highest level of boxing right now.
I feel you.
And because you got that crazy confidence, you know, and you got Canelo. Canelo is just because the media portrays Gennady as being something massive. Canelo, he eats it all up. He eats it all up, and he actually thinks he's they're at the same level. But Canelo has tons more skill than Gennady. I strongly believe that shit. You know, I mean, the only thing that Canelo messes up with is that he has to, you know, he almost learns too slow. You know, if anything, like he hasn't really improved massively or anything. He just has a very strong work ethic, which is great, but he hasn't improved massively. You're not seeing many different looks from Canelo.
I mean, it's just.
He also has that super beef.
There's a new elephant in the room with that test.
But which is what everybody is talking about right now in the comment section. So for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, Canelo, he did fail a PED test, and I'll say it's a performance enhancing drug because clenbuterol, it actually enhances muscle mass while giving you an opportunity to burn fat at the same time. So he failed this test. And the question is, you know, should the fight still go on? And what does it mean? I mean, he's saying that it was meat contamination. Coincidentally, Eric Morales, Francisco Vargas, they all failed this exact same test or test positive for clenbuterol, and they all said it was meat contamination. But my whole thing, though, Kirk, let me start with you. My whole thing is, if they can use that meat contamination excuse, then isn't that almost saying that now fighters could just start eating hamburger helper all day and saying, you know, it's the hamburger helper, you know, it's the meat contamination. And I mean, what your thoughts on the whole situation, Kirk?
Right, and that may be a valid excuse. That was the first thing that I heard or that I thought of when he tested positive, but also at the same token, you should know better. Like, if this isn't your first time hearing of these results and, you know, hearing of these tests. I mean, you're from Mexico. I'm talking about Canelo, and, you know, you're in the boxing world, so you should have better judgment, and you should know better to do things more rigorously in regards to your preparation, unless you're cheating unless you're cheating and you're trying to, you know, gain an advantage. I think that, I'm not sure, I may have read it somewhere, that the test levels, the results of that test showed that it's not just meat contamination because of the levels that was caught in the testing.
Oh, is that what they? Oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't know that right there. But you know, when they say it was,
I mean, I'd have to double check it though. But I mean, if that's the case, then to me, he's intentionally cheating. If that's not the case, then, you know, it could have just been bad meat. But he should still know better.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, because they said that it was small traces, but what people don't realize is when you take clenbuterol, you take small doses of it. You could take like a half pill of clenbuterol. Some people say, because I was watching some videos on this after this test, and there were some bodybuilders talking about it, and they were talking about they were basically advising people to only take half of a real tiny pill, because, you know, it'll get your heart rate up real high and everything. He said this one guy, he took a half pill, you know, and didn't see a big difference. But when he took the whole pill, which was a tiny, tiny pill, his heart rate went through the roof and all kind of stuff. So you're supposed to take small doses of it. So it doesn't make any sense when people's defense is it was small traces of it. And furthermore, when you are a millionaire, when you like the Michael Jackson, the Prince of Mexico, it ain't no way you're going to be, I don't believe, you know, driving around eating dirty ass meat. You're just not going to do it. And Golovkin's promoter, Tom Lawfer, he made a good point. He said, well, if this is the case, I want you to let people know where and when you got this. Where did you get it from and when? So we can basically know who the source, basically. That's what he was basically saying, right? So and Team Canelo, they didn't do this. You would think that they would point at someone. They'd be like, oh yeah, it was this restaurant right here. Yep, I got it from them. They the ones that gave me that dirty ass meat. You know what I mean? But they're not doing that. They're not doing that. So you know, it's not the best look, but I think and Golovkin even said, you know, he said this is bad for the sport, and Golovkin even says he's not buying the meat contamination. He said, you know, that's his words was, it was stupid and something else, some other word he used. But anyway, hey, 929, thanks for calling in, man. I'm gonna get to another one, all right?
Hey,
quick question.
All right, take care, man.
Hey Dante, quick question.
Yeah.
On the have the numbers come out for the Ortiz and Wilder fight, and also if those came out, what were the numbers for the Kovalev fight as well?
Yeah, the numbers.
They did come out.
Yeah, Wilder was a little
out.
over $1 million, right? Was it 1.1 or 1.5?
It was like, I think it was
like 1.4.
1.4.
Okay, 1.3. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Or somewhere. I think he doubled what Kovalev did.
He doubled what Kovalev
did.
Okay,
I just I just wanted to shoot that out because it addresses how idiotic the statement of Sanchez.
Abel Sanchez. I already know that. I mean, but I had gave him examples even when he was on the show, and I'm just gonna give you just my own personal stats. My post-fight video of Wilder did 100,000 views, you know, and my post-fight video of Mikey Garcia, you know, it did 20,000 views. You know, I'm saying the very next day. So I mean, once again, it doesn't make sense what Abel Sanchez said. You know, trying to say, you know, oh, they're boring and their style is not pleasing, because this is, for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, just in case you missed it. Golovkin's trainer Abel Sanchez, I had him on the show. He did an interview. He said that black fighters' style was unpleasing. Their styles were unpleasing, and that's the reason why they don't do numbers. And then he said to me, he was like, Dante, well, you know, I would challenge you to go out there as a manager, as a promoter, and go lose your money on a couple of these fighters. And so we've proven to Abel Sanchez and any other person who thinks like that, you know, that the numbers do not support what Abel Sanchez said, not even close. You know, I mean,
Well, let me ask you this: if black fighters are so unpleasing, then why so many promoters, for lack of a better term, have fucked black fighters so bad?
Mm-hmm.
Please explain that. If we're so unexciting, why have they screwed black fighters over financially so damn bad? You can take our pay-per-view money, you can take our gate revenues and stuff like that. Why is these promoters going out their way, historically speaking? Not all promoters, because we know this ain't true for all promoters, but historically speaking, why have these promoters screwed these fighters so damn bad over the years if they're so unpleasing?
If they're so unpleasing.
Well, that and haven't throughout the history of boxing, haven't the black fighters been the main carriers of the sport, from Sugar Ray Robinson to Sugar Ray Leonard to Muhammad Ali to Evander Holyfield to Mike Tyson to Floyd Mayweather, I mean, etc. The list goes on.
Yeah.
And shit, even with Deontay Wilder, I was just in the streets and people were asking me and talking to me about Deontay Wilder. And that goes to tell you something right there.
They are code words, guys.
On the boxing right now.
Yeah, these are all code words at the end of the day. They're all code words trying to say that Floyd Mayweather is boring. I mean, even if you look at, if you go on YouTube right now, when you guys get a chance, go on YouTube right now or later on and search Floyd Mayweather highlights, right? And you tell me how many videos pop up, right? And then tell me how many views those videos are getting. And then you go and you search Oscar De La Hoya's highlights, and you tell me who's been watched the most. You could look at Canelo, you could look at all of these fighters, and you'll find out that more people are watching Floyd Mayweather. So that completely shuts down any notion, he's boring, he's this and he's that, because you don't have to pay you don't have to pay to watch that. And that means you voluntarily going to watch those videos. You know, you can watch tons of fighters' highlights, but you're electing to watch this guy's highlights. So that alone tells you something right there, you know? So yeah, once again, like, this is what I mean when I say these are cold words. You want to call Floyd Mayweather something that you know you can't call him, you know, and that goes with any fighter on the coincidental list. So you can't call him what you really want to call him, because that's going to expose you. You know what I mean? So you got to use these code words and say he's boring, he's a runner, you know, he's this and he's that. Nobody wants to watch him. You know, I mean, I could just go on and on, you know, with exposing that kind of stuff. But yeah, we know what time it is at the end of the day. That's pretty much what that is.
And Dante, man, can you start putting pressure on Eddie Hearns, man? Because I say this because your platform is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That BS shit he's doing with keeping them guys over fighting the UK, they got to cross the Atlantic. That Wilder and AJ fight has to happen. And Big Baby Miller, stop being his pawn, trying to jump in the ring to speak up a fight with Wilder. That ain't what we want to see.
Create a distraction and a deflection is kind of what it is.
Exactly. You can't let that shit go down.
No doubt about it.
Well, Baby Miller, if he takes care of business April 28th, Eddie Hearn said that he's gonna put Baby Miller and Joshua together at the Barclays.
And the fans can debunk that because nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
So Eddie Hearn's gonna find his way like HBO about this game. He's gonna have to cut the shit.
Well, this is the thing too. I think the walls are closing in on Anthony Joshua when it comes to the Wilder situation. I think Anthony Joshua has realized that it's not going to go away. The Deontay Wilder problem is not going to go away. And so he is going to most likely try to fight Big Baby Miller. But just like Tony said right now, the talks is after that they'll fight Wilder. But realistically, it doesn't really make sense, and it does go right back to my Super Bowl, other sports analogy, where we're supposed to have a conclusion at the end of every season. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense when you're saying, because right now Anthony Joshua is saying, well, let's not have the Super Bowl this season. Let's have the Super Bowl next season. That's pretty much what Anthony Joshua is saying, because he's going to fight Joseph Parker, then he's going to fight Big Baby Miller possibly, and I don't think that's going to give him enough time to fight Wilder by the end of the year. Now, Tony, what did you say? Say that again. You said that the talks is they're going to fight in the Barclays Center?
Yeah. Well, Eddie Hearn specifically told me and my boy Gustavo while interviewing that he said that if Baby Miller takes care of business April 28th and Joshua takes care of business on Parker on this month, the 31st, they will meet at the Barclays Center summer.
Oh, man.
Okay, summer.
That.
Well, but that would be too close though, right? Because you saying, wait, hold on, if I heard you right. You said, so Joshua's going to fight Parker, then Baby Miller, then Wilder?
Yes. Well, we got to be realistic. Wilder and Joshua face each other, it's got to be next year. It's not going to happen this year, based on the dates and the scheduling.
But that's my point.
It's a big.
That's my whole point. It doesn't have to be if Anthony decides to pull a move that Wilder just pulled when he fought against Ortiz. If Anthony just says, you know what, let me go ahead and fight Joseph Parker and then fight Wilder next, then it won't have to be next year. But once again,
But it won't.
But what's up?
No, I agree with what you're saying, but the reality is we're gonna have to wait. The fight fans and the big boxing fans, and as far as media, we're gonna have to wait till next year for that big fight.
Oh yeah,
and that fight's gonna have to happen in the UK.
Well, yeah. Wilder, but didn't Wilder say he'll fight him? Wilder said he'll fight him in the UK, though, right? He had already said he'll fight him in the UK, and that goes back to my point. We're gonna have to wait for the Super Bowl. We ain't gonna get the Super Bowl every season. We're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait for the next season to get the Super Bowl. So
and it's got to be like that sometimes. Sometimes
No.
Yeah,
people want to see great fights, but fights got to get built up. Floyd built up the Manny fight for years.
No,
even other great fights.
But see, Floyd. But see, Floyd didn't build up the Manny Pacquiao fight. Manny Pacquiao turned down a drug test in 2008.
Oh yeah,
and that's why the fight didn't happen.
Of course,
that wasn't by design.
Floyd made that fight happen again.
Well, yeah. Well, right. It had to happen. But in this situation, there's really nothing, holding them from making this fight. There's nothing stopping this fight from coming to fruition other than Anthony Joshua, saying that he doesn't want it right now. I don't think when you say it's got.
They don't have to build. They don't have to build this fight.
No, you don't.
It's already big.
It's already big. When you got Anthony Joshua filling up arenas with 100,000 seats, You got Deontay Wilder, who, at least when it comes to comparing him to other American fighters, is doing pretty good out here in America. You know, you got him getting these vicious knockouts, these Rocky Balboa type performances, you know, and they've been champions for quite some time. Yeah, there's no reason for us to wait. Once again, you know, if it's all in the same season, then that's okay. But we don't have to wait years for the fight. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So we're supposed to just see them not fight the best for years, and then you know, they fight. We get to see the best fight the best later on. No, we should see the best fight the best every single season, like every other sport.
Right.
You know, that's how.
Well, and no knock on
the-
Miller. Miller hasn't shook up anything in the heavyweight division. Like he doesn't have a name. He's not established. He hasn't shook up anything. So how is his name even dropped into the bucket? And it's ridiculous. It's Eddie Hearn doing the cash cowing maneuvers.
And
He's
you
doing
know,
the same crap that Oscar has brought into the game, and it has to be eliminated.
You're right, Reggie, and let me go ahead and just elaborate on what you just said. Yeah, this is not a knock. This is not a knock on Miller at all. Miller is a good heavyweight, and Miller has a chance, you know, probably to even beat Anthony Joshua. But this is not about that.
He does have a chance.
Oh, he has a very good chance to beat Joshua. You know, that's probably, I would say that's a 50-50 fight because Miller will come forward. Miller will come forward, and the last person who gave Joshua problems is Carlos Takam. But the bigger point I'm trying to make right now is it's not so much about if Miller deserves it. It's about the fact that you have two champions right now, and we're trying to find out who the best champion is. So that business should be handled first. So it's not a knock. It's not a knock on Miller. You know, the real business should be taken care of first, and then you go ahead and start fighting the number one contender, the number two contenders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the point right there. You know, but anybody else got something on that?
Because Eddie Hearn's the clown.
Well, and especially because people are peeping in right now to the heavyweight division. Like the heavyweight division, you know, for the first time in years, actually has steam, and people care about it. So it's like we got to capitalize on that and keep pushing it forward. Keep the wheels rolling, and let's see the best fight the best. Let's not have, you know, Deontay, you know, fight substitutes while en route to wanting to fight the other main guy in the division.
You know, Dante, I've heard, you know, a lot of praise for Wilder, you know, during your show, and I got to give Wilder his credit. You know, he definitely showed the heart of a champion last week. But you know, we're not, you know, we're kind of forgetting that, you know, Wilder, you know, he showed last week, you know, he definitely got to come with his A game to fight Joshua. You know, he nearly lost the fight last week, you know, and you know, that seventh round, you know, if that was another referee, who knows if they would have called it.
Yeah, but once again,
that's a good point. But that's different. That's a different style, though. But he's a different style from Joshua.
But not only that, though. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't, even if we all thought Anthony Joshua wins the fight hands down, it doesn't matter. The fight is supposed to still happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, once again, in the Super Bowl, no one expected the results, the outcome that we got, you know, in the Super Bowl. It was an upset, right? So, I mean, it doesn't really matter who we think will win. It doesn't matter who we think is the most flawed fighter. We want a conclusion at the end of the day, and that's all that really matters. So if Deontay Wilder looked flawed, that's even more of a reason for Anthony Joshua to take the fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see a beautiful chick, and you think, you know, she's vulnerable, she just, you know, she need a shoulder to cry on or whatever the case, you attracted to her, you go after her, you try to go get her. You're not going to walk the other way when you know you can get it, right? So, you know,
exactly.
Deontay Wilder is undefeated. Why wouldn't, if Anthony Joshua is looking at the Wilder fight, just like you just said right now, Tony, he didn't look, he struggled against, you know, Ortiz, et cetera, then that should make Anthony should be foaming at the mouth. He should be looking at it that way. He should be like, man, let me be the first person to beat him, because ain't nobody gonna get more credit than the first guy to beat him, right? You know, you beat an undefeated fighter, you're gonna get all the credit for that. So that's more of a reason for Anthony to fight him if Joshua did not look that good in his last. I mean, if Wilder didn't look good in his last fight.
No, so. I Dante, I agree with what you're saying, but you know, for that fight to happen, you know, The fight's going to be in the UK, and then now, we have to figure out the money part. Joshua, what's he going to take? Does he want this 50-50 split? Will he take less? That's another thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
that should not put Baby Miller in front of this fight happening.
And
it makes sense though. Miller is a top.
Miller has nothing to put on the table. What sense does it make?
How does he not? He's fought everybody he's beaten.
Baby Miller?
Yeah.
Who has he fought?
He fought top 10 opponents.
Yeah, well, was it?
Man, he fought the Putty Patrol, man. Come on, man. Come on, brother.
Hold on. Listen. The bottom line is right now, Wilder, Anthony Joshua is not saying I don't want the fight because it has to be in the UK. He's not using these excuses. He's not using the money excuse right now. I mean, last time I recall Anthony Joshua about a year ago, what exactly did he say, Kirk? He said I'm not going to be forced into taking a fight. I'll take it when I'm ready, and I worked hard to get into this position. What did he say again, Kirk?
Yeah, basically those same sentiments. He was sounding like Keith Thurman a little bit. Pretty much just saying like the fight's not going to happen when you guys want the fight to happen. It'll happen when I want it to happen. When I feel it's right.
I mean, we got to be realistic. There's certain people that are dictating fights. Dictating things. When Joshua and Eddie Hearn want to make the fight happen, the fight will happen. They're not waiting. It's not going to be dictated by Wilder or whoever's.
That's clear. You can't force. That's clear. You can't force somebody to fight you. That's clear. That's clear as day. I mean, once again, Errol Spence can attest to that. But once again,
Well, and
go ahead.
And if that's the case, then it's on the fans and it's on the media to call it out and let Joshua and Eddie Hearn know that they need to. I want to call him, like a bitch or nothing like that. I'm definitely not saying that, but it's like don't. You gotta at the end of the day, you gotta man up and you gotta take on the responsibility of being a champion, and that is facing the best competition and defending your championship.
And Jesse
and being someone that
And Jesse Vargas made a really good point, man. When Keith Thurman turned down the Jesse Vargas fight, Jesse Vargas said, it's nothing wrong with Keith Thurman saying he's not ready to fight the best competition, but if you don't feel you're ready, then give up the belt, because that belt signifies that you're the best. The whole reason of having that belt is to show that you're the best. You're supposed to always be willing to fight the best. So you can't. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
I get what you're saying, but Keith Thurman has earned that right to get that fight. He's earned the right to May 19th have to get that fight. And then after that, he's going to have to fight Sean. He's going to have to fight Danny. He's going to have to fight Spence. He's earned that right. That people are, complaining like, oh, why don't he fight Spence? Why don't he fight Spence? Errol Spence got to wait his turn. Errol Spence got his belt. Let him do his thing. Keith has earned the right to get his get-back fight. He'll take care of business. Then he'll fight Sean. Then possibly Danny. Then Spence will get his fight. Sometimes people got to understand, just because the fans want to see this fight doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. It's a lot of things that are factors.
But Keith made an enemy of that. But Keith, he talked so much the things that he said prior to acquiring those two belts, and then since acquiring those belts, what he said has made him an enemy of that whole ideology right there. He said too much shit about wanting to fight the best, and at the time Mayweather was champ, so he's like, well, Mayweather has to see me. I'm the number one contender. Blase, and it's for you to say all this shit, leading up to you getting your titles, and while having your titles, and you have another young hungry lion who now has a title after you said he needs to get a title to even come to the bargaining table, and he has a title, and he's been fighting, top guys. It's like
I definitely respect what you're saying, but who has the best resume at 147? Keith Thurman has the best resume.
But he can't sit on that resume. He's sitting out.
That's the thing, though, right there. Just because, let's say you do have a good resume, you can't just sit on the resume and say, now that I have the best resume, I'm not going to fight anyone else.
How is he sitting on it? On May 19th, that's his get-back fight. Then he's got to fight Sean, probably, or Danny next. So I wouldn't say he's sitting on that.
Well, I mean, once again, the thing is, when it comes to Keith Thurman, he's no doubt about it. He's one of the best welterweights. I mean, me personally, I think Errol Spence's win over Kell Brook. But if you go back and you watch my old videos, before Errol Spence fought Kell Brook, I made videos saying that I thought that Kell Brook was the best welterweight. And I always thought that Kell Brook would be Errol Spence's most difficult fight. And it turned out to be his most difficult fight. And I'd be very surprised if any welterweight gives Errol Spence the problems that Kell Brook gave him. But with that being said, with Keith Thurman, it is okay for Keith Thurman to, go ahead and take an easy fight back, at least his first fight back. That's okay. To me, it doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense after you test your arm out. It seems like that's around the time we should get the fight. After you test your arm out, you fight on May 19th, you come back, and then you fight the best. And then it's the two champions fighting against each other. It's the best versus the best. That makes all the sense in the world. And something else, we got to be careful, though, Tony. Well, I think we really have to be careful with not trying to make, fighters comfortable with not fighting the best, because once again, in every sport, there is a conclusion at the end of the season. You know what I mean? So it may not be the very next fight, but it could be towards the end of the season. So that's just what it is, man. That's what it is. Keith.
Right. But Sean has been waiting. Sean is next.
Sean doesn't hold no title.
Shit, Errol been waiting too.
For nothing. Yeah. Why would Keith take the risk of fighting Sean when Sean has nothing to bring to the table?
Yeah.
If you want to put your name in the history books, you fight for these titles, not for something nobody has to give you.
Right, but Sean.
Right, Keith already beat him, so it's like
Sean has earned the right for that rematch. So Sean is not going to be able to get his rematch no more. Of course not. He has to get it.
Oh, he's going to get the rematch. But the thing is, let's just be realistic. Errol Spence, he's been calling out Keith Thurman since 2015. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like Errol Spence just started calling out Keith Thurman 2 months ago when he found out he was injured, or 6 months ago. He's been calling him out since 2015. So clearly this is not a knock on Keith Thurman, but clearly let's at least admit that Keith Thurman realizes that Errol Spence would be a much tougher fight than Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Robert Ghost Guerrero. You would agree with that, though, Tony, right?
Of course, I would agree that Spence versus Thurman is the biggest fight at 147 right now.
Yeah, and it's the most.
Why
wait? Yeah, and that's the thing.
Because in a perfect world, we would get the best fights right away, but that's not how it works.
Sports and entertainment, we got to change the dynamic. For too long, boxing has been altered by these.
We got all
people
these
that run it.
that we got eliminated.
Jacked up networks. No, it's sports and entertainment. You got to entertain.
So
the
Tony,
you have to entertain the fight.
So Tony, you saying the fans shouldn't want to see the best fight the best though at every season, like at the end?
Of course. No, I agree. But the reality is that Sean is due his rematch. Sean is the mandatory. Danny is the second mandatory. Unless they make an agreement,
But that's why an agreement. That's like when Deontay Wilder paid Bermain Stavern step-aside money because he was going to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz.
Right. But Sean has made it very clear. Unless it's some crazy number, he wants a shot with Thurman this year. He's made it very clear that he's not going to take step-aside money unless it's a big number.
Yeah, and once again, Errol Spence is a more difficult fight than Sean Porter. He's a much more difficult fight than Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and that's most likely. So my whole thing is I just think Keith Thurman, I think it'll be a better look for Keith to just come out and say, look, man, Errol Spence, I'm the best. Errol Spence is the best. That's going to be a very difficult fight. I'm going to give him his credit. I want to build up to that fight because that's going to be my toughest challenge. And I want to build up to it. I want to make sure I'm ready for it. I just feel if you come straight out and be honest like that, people will respect you more, as opposed to trying to make different excuses that will get you tangled up in contradictions. That's what, you have to be careful with. Like Kirk said earlier, it's Keith Thurman that has said a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have said. You know, it's better sometimes you just don't say too much about it. If you're going to say something that's going to kind of, you know, make it look like it's a contradiction. Let's just go ahead and take another call. Hold on, let's take another call real quick. See what, hold on one second. Okay, we got 404 on the line. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this Quentin, man, from Stone Mountain. I'm currently in San Diego. How you doing today, brother?
All right. What's going on, man? What's on your mind, man?
Yes, man. I had another question, but while we on the Spence conversation, I mean, I really do think at this point, after looking at the back and forth between Spence and Kell Brook, that more than likely, and how you looking at 147, that Spence is going to eventually have to pull a Mikey Garcia and just fight at 154 and 147 because he's not going to get many takers at 147. Let's just call it spade a spade. You have yes, you right now you have challengers, contenders who's saying that a champion at 147 is not on their list. So never mind Thurman, who at least saying, hey, I'm a champion, I'm gonna sit back, heal up, and fight whenever I fight him. At least he has the belt and has some type of clout to say that. You have people that saying he's not even on his list. You know, mandatory that's trying to stall out to even fight him. So as far as Spence, I really think that at the end of the day, he's going to have to fight at 154, and I think the only person that's actually doable for him to fight is probably Laura if he ends up beating Hurd because he can't fight Charlo since they have the same coach, and Saddam Ali is going to be protected by Oscar because Oscar wants somebody to sign with him if they're going to fight for that WBO. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to just say real quick. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Andre Ward because Andre Ward couldn't get Golovkin. They forced him to move up in weight. I don't think fighters should be forced to move up in weight. You know, if the fighters, you know, won't fight them, I think that you should just keep closing in the walls on them. You should just keep closing the walls in until you force them to fight or give up the belt. You know, I mean, the thing is, there's unfinished business at 147 for Errol Spence. He wants to clean up that division. You know, those questions have already been brought to Errol Spence's attention. You know, they've already asked him that. What do you think about just moving up to 154? And he said, I want to clean up the 147-pound division before I move up to 154. But you're right. I mean, but I feel where you're coming from because no one wants to fight Errol Spence right now. Danny Garcia, he just said in a recent interview that I did with him out there in New York. He said that he didn't want the fight right now. He said let it build up like Mayweather Pacquiao, which that's like saying you're gonna wait 3-5 years for the fight to happen. So that means Danny Garcia is in no hurry to fight Errol Spence, you know, and right now Keith Thurman is saying possibly 2019. Let me say something else about Keith Thurman real quick. I want to also make it clear, just because we want to see the best fight the best, that's not a knock on Keith Thurman. People got to stop thinking automatically that means you're dissing Keith Thurman if you want Keith Thurman to fight Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying you're dissing the Patriots if you want them to play against the Eagles or something like that. You know what I mean? We just want to see the best fight the best. And that's all it is. It's not a diss towards Keith Thurman. That's just that's what's done in every sport. You know what I mean? So right. And like Reggie said, or Kirk, it's our job, you know what I'm saying, over here in the media, you know, to try our best to promote these great fights. You know, so
and I agree with you, brother. I'm not trying to knock you on that, Dante. I was just saying, you know.
Oh no, I wasn't even talking. I wasn't even talking to you, but go ahead though. I feel you though. But go ahead.
Because I see a lot of people, you know, like I said, harping on like Keith Thurman about it. But when you have contenders who don't want to fight a champion, it kind of reminds me of with Spence, where it was like back. You remember when Paul Williams, you know, he was dangerous that way, and people wouldn't fight him, and he ended up having to just move up. So and the only reason why
he was like
brought up
6'1" too, though. I mean, but yeah, I feel
yeah,
you.
well, hey, he was making the weight. These days and age, how they're saying that you're a weight bully, but if you're making the weight, fine. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
so,
I feel you.
But what I'm saying with that is, at 154, I saw the interviews all this weekend about how Kell Brook was saying how he would demolish him easily, and how Eddie Hearn would say, hey, if Charlo wants to hey, I don't mind Kell Brook fighting Spence again, and Kell Brook saying, oh, I would demolish him easy. So I mean, when you look at it, I mean, when you look at it, that's probably about the biggest fight he can make at this point. If Keith Thurman is not going to fight, short of Crawford fighting him, and I know because I would pay $150 for a pay-per-view if him and Crawford fought, because I think that's another big mistake with your boy Jeff Horn saying, oh, I'm gonna come over to Las Vegas or the United States 10 days before my fight, and you in Australia. That makes no sense. So he's planning on losing, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why before the fight was made, Jeff Horn was like, he went back to the negotiating table. He was like, look, man, I want severance pay when it comes to this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
y'all gonna have to make sure I really get paid if I'm going in there. Same thing happened with Chris Algieri when Chris Algieri went in there with Errol Spence. And Chris Algieri, that's my boy. But he said, look, I'm gonna need extra money. The money got to be right if I'm getting in there with Errol Spence. People know and they respect Errol Spence's name, and so that's what it is. Go ahead, Kirk.
I was gonna say Keith Thurman did the same. Didn't he say I need a guaranteed $10 million if I'm gonna fight this man?
He sure did. He sure did. He said he wanted $10 million to fight Errol Spence. That was that was like 2 years ago. That was about 2 years ago. That was when Mayweather was still fighting. That's when Mayweather was still fighting.
When Mayweather said he can fight him on his undercard.
Yeah.
And he said so. So Keith Thurman is not any big news on that, but and after looking at this weekend, I'm really excited because I think Charlo and Danny Jacobs is going to be if they get together and eventually fight, I think that's going to be a fight. I mean, I see a lot of people thought that Charlo backed down from it. I don't necessarily think that. I just think he realized and hit him like, hold on, I am in Brooklyn. Let me tone this down because it can go elsewhere. So that's just me.
That's a good. Hey, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point you make. Yeah, he like, wait, I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in this dude's hometown and everything. Right. This could get real bad out here.
Right. Because the dude that was on his left, on Charlo's left, that was hyping up like it always is in anything. It's the entourage that's hyping it up and starts to fight more than the actual people that's involved in it. And I think he realized when he looked that his brother wasn't around, and he just like, hey, okay, we're talking. They shook hands and they let it go. So I do think that that's going to be the big fight. So right now I have to tip my hands off because as far as promoter, I think Charlo even said it. He said, you must be the new Don King of boxing when it comes to Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn is creating a lot of buzz about fight. Whether he makes them happen or not, he is at least, as far as from what I've seen, he's doing more as a promoter as far as getting a buzz, because he's the blame guy right now. He's the fall guy. Like, hey, I give him that much about protecting his fighters and getting them easy paydays, if nothing else. And so with all that being said, I just really think that 2017 was great. 2018 is going to be, going to continue that way.
Absolutely.
But I think 2019 is probably going to be the pay-per-view fight that you saying, because all these guys are saying, hey, we're not going to fight until 2019.
Not to cut you off, bro, but I got to really get to another call though, family. But I want to. But thanks for your call, man, and we're gonna go ahead and still respond to some of that stuff you just said, man. So thanks. All right, man.
All right, thank you, brother.
All right, man. Take care, man.
Y'all have a blessed night.
All right, man. Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Before we shift from the thing about it was back to the Sean Portman and pushing for that to jump in line as far as fighting Thurman. The other thing that I think a lot of people overlook about how bad it is for them to overlook, expediting this fight with Thurman and Spence, let's say that Sean Porter and them Sean Porter goes in that fight and he upsets Thurman. We're going to still run into the same situation of these fighters avoiding giving Errol Spence the challenge for that belt. Even if Danny Garcia gets the shot, he's going to avoid him. So we're going to have this back and forth lobbing this belt and keeping Errol Spence on the outside.
Who's avoiding Errol Spence? I mean,
all these fighters, none of them call him out.
You said who's avoiding? You said who's avoiding Errol Spence?
Errol Spence has a belt, and none of them call him out.
You said who's avoiding Errol
Sean
Spence?
Porter, Sean Porter recently went to an interview with Keith Thurman and was calling about being bold, this and that. He went to Danny Garcia's post-fight. He interrupted that, trying to call him out.
Well,
he asked him about Errol Spence. He catches that loser.
I want to ask, what's your definition of avoiding a fighter?
Yeah, I want to know.
Whoever said that? I don't even know who said that. Who was that? Somebody said, who's avoiding Errol Spence? Who said that?
I said that. Who's avoiding?
Oh, Tony, right?
All the guys are avoiding him. You don't hear none of them call him out. He has the belt, but all they want to do is take this opportunity with Keith Thurman. And if they do capture that belt, they're going to still do the same thing. They're going to probably keep contending for these rematches and not challenging for the belt. None of them seem to want to unify this division except for Errol Spence and Crawford. The other guys who've been in this division for so long don't seem interested at all but fighting one another. They don't seem interested in trying to capture these belts and unifying it.
Once again,
they're weighing out their time in hopes.
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I mean, listen, we can go back and forth on this because, for example, Porter wants the rematch with Thurman, but we haven't heard Porter talking about getting a rematch with Kell Brook years ago. It's never.
No, Porter.
Barely mentioned that.
No, Porter.
He did want that
Porter
fight.
did want that fight. Porter said that Sean Porter said they removed him from the IBF rankings right after he lost.
Right, but
to Kell Brook.
I understand, but he wasn't barking at it the way he's barking at Thurman. He really wants this rematch.
Well, of course he wants the rematch because he has that was a close fight. That was a very close fight. I mean, once again, the bottom line is these are skill recognized skill. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, there's a reason why this guy Errol Spence is a champion. Usually that's what people aspire to reach, right? It's championship status. You have someone who's giving you an opportunity to jump into the front of the line and fight for the title, and you don't want to fight the champion, but you rather wait to fight other champions, or you rather wait to fight other opponents. That clearly suggests that they see something in Errol Spence. That they really, really respect Errol Spence.
Well, let me ask you something. What do you guys think? Who is afraid of Errol Spence? Errol Spence is a great fighter. I'm just saying, who at the 147 division seems to try and to avoid stuff? Like who do you guys feel?
All of
somebody that.
Okay, let's start. To answer your question, Tony, let's start with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia right now, he does not have a belt. If you would think in every sport, you want to be the champion. You want to win the Super Bowl. You want to win the NBA Finals. You want to win the gold medal, right? Danny Garcia has an opportunity right now to fight Errol Spence for the championship belt. And Danny Garcia said that he does not want to fight for the championship belt right now. So how do you explain that?
And he's coming
Hold on. Let Tony respond real quick.
Okay, I can't speak for Danny because I'm not in Danny's position.
Well,
Danny's a great fighter.
Go ahead, Tony.
All I can really say is this. If Danny feels like he's not ready to fight Errol right now, I don't know. Either he's waiting for the fight at a different time, he's waiting for his Keith rematch, or he's possibly just building up the fight. I don't know. That's something that you got to ask Danny. I can't speak for him.
Well,
the only thing I can say is,
go ahead, Tony.
The only thing I can say is this: as far as Errol Spence is a great fighter, but I don't feel like every fighter is trying to avoid him. Maybe 147 division is packed. It's a stacked division. But what Errol Spence is fighting his mandatory June 16th at his homecoming. What will be next for him at the end of the year? We don't know that. The reality is, Spence and Thurman, that's not going to happen for 2019.
Oh well, we're not denying. I mean, the debate is not on the prediction of when the fight is going to happen. The debate and the questions are why it's not happening. And once again, I was just answering your question, Tony, because when you said who's avoiding him, that's the reason why I brought up the whole Danny Garcia situation. But somebody in the comment section just said, because I feel it's very important to educate as many decaps as we can per show. So some guy in the comment section, he said, I blame this on Floyd Mayweather. This goes right back to, once again, these misconceptions when it comes to, what they try to push, the narrative they try to push out there.
You can't blame Floyd.
No,
everybody wants to blame Floyd for everything.
Yeah. But once again, like I said, the difference from, how can you say I blame this on Floyd? Floyd Mayweather, when it came to the Manny Pacquiao situation, Floyd Mayweather agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's terms. See, people don't pay attention to that. He agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's terms. They were negotiating to make the fight come to fruition. When it comes to everybody against Errol Spence, nobody is negotiating with Errol Spence. Nobody is turning down, some stipulation, in the contract. None of that is going on with Errol Spence. You know what I mean? So you can't compare. They love to try to compare Floyd Mayweather to everything that's going on now. But something else I find ironic is they hated Floyd Mayweather, but a lot of times they will defend the fighters that's avoiding a fighter or whatever you want to call it today. So how come you didn't feel the same way about Floyd back then? So, I mean, it just opens up all different type of conversations,
And I agree with you.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. So, yeah, that's what that is, though, man. But
even on to go back in the topic with the Errol Spence 2019 fight, even if that's to happen, so when is the Errol Spence Garcia fight going to happen, or when is the Errol Spence Sean Porter fight going to happen? And that's where you run into the lines where you see people avoiding them. Everybody can't fight Keith Thurman. Everybody can't fight Keith Thurman. So when are you guys going to line up this fight to fight Errol? Ain't none of these guys doing it. And Errol's having to take these no-name fighters because these other big-name fighters are avoiding them. And they're just playing dodgeball with one another, and it's bullcrap.
Dodgeball for real. And
even with Sean Porter, I saw him crash a Keith Thurman, interview, answer question, whatever thing he had going on. And he rambled on for 15 minutes about wanting to fight Keith Thurman and asking him, who are you fighting next? When are you going to fight me? Et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Then when Danny Garcia fought Brandon Rios, he tried to interrupt the post-fight interview with Jim Gray, pretty much trying to get a fight with him. If you ask him about Errol Spence, that man catches amnesia. They I've seen two interviews. I've seen an interview when someone asked him about him sparring Errol Spence. He said, yeah, I sparred him, such and such way back when. And then they asked him again on a separate occasion if he ever sparred Errol Spence, and he's like, nope.
Yeah.
And, he just acts like he's seen a ghost whenever you bring up his name.
And hold on, real quick, there was a decaf. There was a decaf in the comment section, once again trying to make excuses about the Mayweather-Pacquiao situation. He said, oh no, Floyd Mayweather was asking for a ridiculous split. I just put the link in the description box. I have the actual interview with Freddie Roach where Freddie said out of his own mouth it was Manny Pacquiao's fault the fight didn't happen in 2008.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so the link is in the description box if you guys want to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So if you want to argue with somebody, you're gonna have to argue with the guy that you defending. So yeah.
No, I know the truth.
I ain't talking to you, Tony. I'm not talking to you, Tony. I'm talking to it's a decaf in the comment section. So I was just giving him the the truth and the blueprint. Right. Exhibit A, if you will. So yeah. But anyway, so that's what it is, man. But like I said, once again, let me reiterate. It's not a diss towards Keith Thurman. It's not a diss towards Anthony Joshua, just because we want to see the best fight the best. You know what I mean? That's nothing personal. So, that needs to be understood. but the fights need to happen, and I believe Errol Spence is going to keep putting pressure, and the media and the fans are going to keep putting pressure. You know, Canelo had no intentions of fighting Edeslani Lara before he fought Lara, but it was because Lara jumped on stage, and then the Mexican fans from Mexico, they start applying a lot of pressure on Canelo to take the fight. And Canelo's pride got the best of him, and he finally gave in, and he took the fight. So my point is,
and who won that?
Huh?
Dante, who do you think won that? Who do you think won that fight?
I thought Lara won the fight.
Lara won.
Yeah. I thought Lara won the fight, but once. Go ahead.
Lara won the fight, but you know, boxing's about politics too. You know.
It is, and we trying to eradicate as much of that as we can right now. You know, so that's really what it comes down to. You know, I mean, you know, if you what's my boy Morgan Freeman on Lean on Me? What was the name of his character on Lean on Me? We trying to clean up this school right now. We trying to clean up this high school right now, and that's what that is. You know.
You're right. But where's Lara's rematch? She ain't never get his rematch.
Well, yeah,
of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
Of course not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Did he
I
even
agree with
beg
you.
for it?
And
unless you're a true boxing fan or through media, there's fighters that we could go around and mention the people. They still won't know who they are, but we'll know who they are.
And once again, that's part of our job to try to get them exposure. Like we had some callers call in today saying they didn't know who Regis Prograis was. So I really appreciate.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you, Reggie, said that. And that's what I'm saying. That's the whole point of new media. You know what I mean? So the cats that you don't know about, we trying to get their name out there. Go ahead.
I know amateurs now because of y'all.
And who did you say, Reggie? Who?
No, I said I know who amateur boxers are because of y'all, who prospects are because of you guys.
Yeah, and that's
Dante.
Go ahead, Tony.
Like 2 years ago, I remember telling people, "Yo, you know who Errol Spence is?" Nobody knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I told people, "You know who Kell Brook is?" Nobody knew who he was. You know Sean Porter? No one knew who he was. You know what I mean? So you know who Lara is? They didn't know who Lara was. People still don't know who Lara is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, it just depends who you talk to. You know, the media and the real boxing fans, they're going to know certain people. And then there's certain people that, you know, they just don't know at all. You know, they'll be, who's that? You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, and also to your point, when you mentioned Lara and Canelo, Lara not getting a rematch despite his great performance, that also kind of reminds me of the whole Floyd Mayweather, Jose Luis Castillo situation where, you know, they actually fought. Some people thought that, you know, Castillo won. And just to eradicate any kind of confusion or to gain clarity on the matter on who the better fighter was, Floyd gave him an immediate rematch.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well,
that's the G thing about Floyd, man.
That controversy made Floyd, that was his breakout right there. That rematch was his breakout moment.
Well, Diego Corrales was really his breakout moment, but he had a whole bunch of breakout performances.
Okay,
you know,
that was Floyd's first pay-per-view, the rematch.
Was that pay-per-view?
Well, I thought it was Gotti.
I thought that was on the undercard. I thought Mayweather.
No, the rematch was pay-per-view.
I don't think that was a pay-per-view fight, but if it was on. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, you know what? It's still a whole bunch of people on the phone lines. I hate to.
Let me get off so you can have the other callers. I'm gonna listen to the show.
Okay, man. All right, Reggie. All right, good stuff, Reggie.
All right, thank you, man.
All right, take care, man. All right, man. My man Reggie holding it down out here in Vegas from LA to Las Vegas. We'll try to take another call, and we about 2 hours in. It's about time to wrap it up. But we got let's see, we got 718. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Cliff Benton. I'm calling from Queens. Dante, first of all, you must be complimented for doing a fabulous show.
Thank you,
Your
man.
show is amazing. Your guests, your panelists are amazing. And you're doing a great service to the sport.
Thank you.
And if you've got me up and I'm in the East Coast at 11:35 and I got to get up to work my slave in the morning, you must be doing something right. What I do want to say, though, is somebody who, I teach sports marketing and I'm on the business side of things. There is no way that they could make this fight. I'm talking about with Joshua and Wilder anytime soon. The same thing holds true with Spence. There are 4 levels of fans, and there is the avid fan, which is who we are. There's the common fan, and then there is the casual and the indifferent. You do not make your money in a sport without the casual and the indifferent fan. So yes, we have a demand. We want to see the match very, very badly. But if you take the NFL, the Super Bowl only does great because it's the casual fan that tunes in, and it is the indifferent fan, the fan that only will watch one event a year. That is your largest audience segment. This fight should not be made until minimally the end of 2019 because it doesn't make business sense. If you follow the metrics of any sport, you will see that boxers have gone backwards in terms of their compensation. Now, of course, their model is different because they're not salaried. So they're on a fight-by-fight basis. They're on a case-by-case basis. But if Wilder and Joshua were to make that fight now, as opposed to making that fight a year from now, they'd be losing minimally $30 or $40 million each.
Let me ask you this question. By 2019, what type of TV views do you expect Deontay Wilder to be getting in his fights, and what type of seats do you expect Anthony Joshua to be filling up in the arena?
Great question. Wilder's great question. Wilder's got a ways to go. Wilder is a heavyweight champion with a 40 win streak with 39 knockouts. And he's fighting for $2 million a year.
I know, but
Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier made $2.5 million in 1971.
Okay, but I want you to answer. Wait, we can't compare it to that era. But I want you to answer my question.
No, but I'm telling you what the financials are.
I know, but what type of views? What type of? Because you said wait till 2019.
But it's not the views; it's what the financials are. So let's say,
but views translate to finances though. If you selling out arenas, if you're selling out arenas, if everybody is tuning in to your fights, that means you're going to get paid more.
No, brother Dante, they're not directly correlated. That is why Tyson gets out of jail, fights Peter McNeely, and makes $25 million, and that's in the mid-'90s.
I want to get back to my question,
and these guys can't even crack 8 figures.
Well, hold on. I want to get back to my question before we lose the question. Like I said, in 2019, what do you expect Deontay Wilder to be pulling in when it comes to gate, views, salary, et cetera, et cetera? What do you expect Anthony Joshua to be generating out there in the UK when it comes to gate, salary, et cetera, before they fight?
Okay, I'm going to answer it very specifically. If they should probably be able to double, and if they double, that means they're still falling far short. If they double their numbers, they're falling far short. Remember, the Super Bowl gets 110 million people. Now, of course, it's not a pay-per-view event, but it gets 110 million people.
So you telling me...
They're a long ways from it. Wilder has to get his weight up. Wilder has to stop putting Joshua's name in his mouth. It's very, very bad from a marketing standpoint. Wilder needs to say that he's the champion.
Hold on.
And the other dude is the belt holder.
Kirk, I want everybody to jump in on the panel. Kirk, he just said it's bad for Wilder to be putting Joshua's name in his mouth, and we should wait for the fight. Your thoughts on this situation? Why do we have to wait for the fight, Kirk?
Well, I mean, the caller, he made some very valid points, and I'm not going to doubt his expertise and the marketing business standpoint of what he's discussing. As a fan first, I definitely want to see the fight as soon as possible. I can understand just wanting to create more buildup so that, not only the fighters can make more money, but it's a bigger event. And the bigger the event is, I think it's better for boxing overall because it just brings more attention to the sport. I'm not sure what the best way to go about it where everyone benefits.
Let me say this. This is what we know for sure. Deontay Wilder, he wants to fight right now. Deontay Wilder if Deontay Wilder was thinking like you're thinking right now, he would have never took the Ortiz fight. Even Deontay Wilder himself, he admits that fight was high risk, low reward. So you have two different type of fighters. You're right to a certain extent. If you're saying, we should try to, make as much money as we can possibly before the fight, et cetera, but you have two different type of fighters today. You have fighters that's fighting to be great, and you have fighters that's just fighting to be financially secure for the rest of their lives. And with Deontay Wilder, he wants both. So I don't think we can argue the fact that Wilder wants to fight more than Anthony Joshua wants to fight. If both Wilder and Anthony, if they were both saying the same thing, if they were both saying, "Oh no, I don't want to fight that guy right now. Let's let that build up." If that was the case, then I could agree. But you have one champion who's hungry. He's foaming at the mouth. He's desperate to prove that he's the best, and that right there cannot be denied. So
okay, you made a phenomenal point. But it speaks to something else that is more insidious, and that is that boxers do not understand fully, and even people who follow the sport don't understand fully the financials. If Wilder is trying to listen, he's 40-0 with 39 knockouts, and he's fighting for $2 million. That's not generational wealth. Football players at the top of their game make generational wealth.
But nobody is making
basketball players, hold on, they make generational wealth. Why is it that boxers are lagging behind? There is absolutely a racial component to this that I don't want to get into. There is a racial component to it, and there is an exploitation component to it.
But that's a different conversation, boxers. If we're comparing boxing to other sports, that's a different conversation, though. Right?
No,
there.
It's not a different conversation, because if you look at sports in general, what you will see is everybody's compensation has gone up significantly. The only segment in sports that has gone backwards in terms of compensation is boxers. Baseball players, football players, hockey players, basketball players, in the individualized sports like golf and tennis, everybody's salary or their compensation has grown exponentially. Boxers are the only ones where they're going backwards. Hearns and Leonard got, for their fight in 1981, Leonard got $10 million, Hearns got $5 million. You're a welterweight and you're fighting for a championship today and you're making $2.5, $3 million. If the boxers were educated as to what was going on, and it does not happen, they would flip on everybody.
Well,
because they are being treated as a slave.
Well, Larry
Holmes, financial reality.
Larry Holmes, let me just make a quick point.
Isn't there?
Go ahead, Kurt.
I was going to say, isn't there that same racial exploitation across other sports like the NFL and other leagues like the NFL and the NBA as well?
I know that nowhere to the degree.
Different.
Okay. I'll tell you a difference. Do you know in golf, when you win a Masters, do you know what they do? They hold a certain portion of your salary, and you can't get that back until 5 years after you retire. Do you know why? Because golf as a sport has a vested interest in protecting the image of the people who have made money in that sport.
Bro, you kind of jumping all over the place, but let me just say this real quick. Larry Holmes.
Dante, I'm not all over the place. Are you following me?
I'm definitely following you, but I will say this.
So if you're following me, you made the point. You made an excellent point. You said, what does it have to do with other sports? I addressed it directly. It has everything to do with the financials in other sports.
No, but what I'm saying is when you comparing boxing to other sports, you're no longer comparing Deontay Wilder to other fighters and their salaries, how they get paid. I mean, you of course there's a racial component to the situation. I mean, you have two fighters on a coincidental list at the end of the day. I mean, they're not gonna. When Larry Holmes fought against Jerry Cooney, he said I could have fought 10 black guys and never made the money that I'm making against this one guy right here. You know what I'm saying? So once again, when you got two fighters like Joshua and Wilder, they're on a coincidental list, and if they're making $2-3 million, if we're comparing Wilder's salaries to Golovkin's salaries, to Canelo's salaries, to other boxers in the sport outside of Floyd Mayweather's salaries, then him making and we already know if he fights Anthony Joshua, he's probably going to make well, not probably, he's going to make way more than $2 million. So we making excuses right now that Anthony Joshua is not even making himself. And that's what we really need to think about. Anthony Joshua, he's not making all of these salary, excuses, and the money is not right. He's just saying, I need time before I get in the ring with this guy. I'm not going to be rushed into a fight with this guy. Anthony Joshua has never really said too much about the money when it comes to Wilder. And something else is, when Charles Murray, when he had the belt, it wasn't about all this, let's build it up. Let's wait till 2019 because, this fight can be big. It could be that. It could be this. He's only saying that about Deontay Wilder. So clearly there's a respect element as well. He has a lot of respect for Deontay Wilder. He realizes that Deontay Wilder is a very dangerous opponent. And this is, this is a money sport. You know what I'm saying? This is a prize fighting sport. So yeah, you want to, if you're not sure you can beat someone, you do. Some fighters, they don't have the confidence that Wilder has. And they want to make as much money as they can before they get in the ring with him. Now, if you was asking, if my job was to protect the man from losing, and I was paid to protect him or something like that, then I would follow your expertise when it comes to what you're saying right now. But if I believe that if I believe that my fighter would win hands down, then I would be as confident as Deontay Wilder. But bro,
you're not gonna take Dante. Said again.
No, hey, bro, but I gotta let you go, man. We've been at it for long. Hey, brother, but I really appreciate the kind words you said, man, and thanks for calling in. Call in anytime, all right, family? Okay, take care. All right, take care, man. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what that is. But anyway, you know what? The phone lines are still lit, but I'm gonna go ahead and have to wrap it up, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Let me go ahead and shout out ashkicking.com, shout out boxrunnershoes.com. Thanks for the panel. As always, Kirk Jackson. Check out the website boxinginsider.com. He writes great articles on that website. Kirk, anything you want to close out with?
Thanks for having me on the show again. I appreciate the time and
the
platform, of course. And shout out to Mikey Garcia and Sergey Lipinets for that fight last night. That was a great fight.
Absolutely. Excellent fight. And also, let me thank my man, Tony from AB Boxing News. You guys go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Tony's channel, AB Boxing News. Anything else you got on your mind, family, Tony?
Yeah, definitely want to shout out Dante's Boxing. Dante, thanks for having me. Want to tell everybody to subscribe to Dante's Boxing channel. Also subscribe to AB Boxing News in New York. We doing big things. We coming. We are the future.
There it is, man. Thanks for joining the show, man. And that's pretty much what it is. So yeah, guys. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Y'all already know what it is. Hashtag new media. Hashtag decaf busters. Hashtag Dante's Boxing Nation. We'll see you guys next week, same time, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thanks for my special guest, of course, Regis Prograis, who got a sensational knockout against Julius Indongo this past weekend. And that's what it is, man. So we'll see you guys next week. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's the nation, baby. Yep.